Good afternoon, everyone. How are you all doing today? How's everybody doing? Shout out to you all. Shout out to the people already hitting a like. Much appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you very much. I want to have this conversation about the Supreme Court's decision about voting rights. Very important. Okay. Very important. And it's something that I've discussed on YouTube. I already discussed this on YouTube. I haven't discussed it on TikTok. So, because honestly, there's a couple of other subjects that there's some interesting subjects that I think we need to talk about later on this week. So I wanted to talk about this because I want to talk about it last week, but didn't get the chance to talk about that last week. So I do want to talk about this decision here, the voting rights decision from the Supreme Court, and just voting rights in general. Because a lot of people feel as if, especially a lot of black people, feel as if voting rights is being trampled upon, and sooner than later, we're not going to have any type of voting rights at all. And then some people are not taking any of this serious to any degree and saying that this is no problem. This is, nothing unusual, nothing out of the ordinary. So I want to have this conversation really to get the community's opinion on this, on the Supreme Court's decision, and to kind of clear up some of the, I guess, rumors or some of the unanswered questions, if I can, that some people may have. Now, what I want to have a conversation, what I want to talk about this, you said vote couch, right? Yeah. Well, I vote couch, but I want to, and that's another thing. When people talk about, y'all said vote couch, maybe came up on accident. I did. Yes, I did say vote couch. You all are purposefully, when it comes to voting couch, people are purposefully misconstruing what that always has meant. Voting couch has always meant being able to maximize your voting leverage, your political leverage, by opting out of the election process. Okay? This is what Malcolm X was talking about in his speech, The Ballot or the Bullet. This is what he was talking about then. So this is not no super brand new concept. Even Dr. King, when he did the March on Washington, was talking about he wanted people in the South to be able to have the right to vote, but he also wanted people in the North to have a reason to vote. And right now, I want you to come up. If you have a question, I want you to come up and we can have a conversation about it. You don't have to insult nobody. I'm not insulting you. And right now, there's a lot of black people who feel as if, okay, you all are telling us to vote and we can vote you guys in and we put you guys in power. You guys are enriching yourself based off of the vote of the people, but you all are not doing what is in the best interest of the people, especially our people. Okay, you're not doing that. So they're using their ability to not vote for them. Okay. You don't have to vote for a bad candidate. You just don't have to do that. This whole thing of, well, if you don't vote, MAGA's going to get in. If you don't vote, MAGA's going to get in. Listen, that's not a vote for MAGA. But if the Democratic Party, and these are Democrat shills who are going to be really upset and bothered, if you all don't vote specifically for the Democrats, if MAGA gets in, then that would mean that the Democrats should have came through. All right. And here's the thing. If we allow the cycle to continue of, well, as long as we keep the Republicans out, it doesn't matter, then the Democrats and no other party, but they won't get any better. They won't get any better. They don't even have to be the quote unquote lesser of the two evils in all actuality. And to be honest, in recent times, when you compare apples to apples, they really haven't been. They haven't been a lesser of two evils in a very long time, if ever. You're talking about the lesser of two evils, and one is just open about it and one isn't open about it. That's honestly what the reality is. And both parties are tremendously flawed and wicked and twisted. And in order to change that, we have to stop capitulating and we have to stop going along with the regular system. The problem with the system is that too many people go along with it. And unless you're willing to change your ways, the system is not going to automatically change itself. It's not. All right. So this is what we're talking about as far as the demands being made. Now, there's a reason you're not coming up. All of the people who claim we're MAGA and all that stuff, there's a reason you're not coming up. And I want everybody, is already over 100 people in here. I want you all to understand that there's a reason. So this is what the couch vote has always been about. It's been about it's been about people saying, okay, well, we have a demand for the community. Okay, politicians just naturally are not our friend. Period. Politicians are not friends of people. Okay, well, you shouldn't view politicians as friends at all. To be honest, and this is my opinion, this is what I do. Politicians, black, white, male, female, young, old, okay, doesn't matter. They are all, and when I say all, I mean every single last person who's been elected, all of them, without any exception, all of them are suspect until proven otherwise. 100%. That is how I go. Now, if anybody goes any differently, then you can go differently. You can think differently. But all of them, doesn't matter who it is. You can know them. That could be your brother, your mama. All of them are suspect until proven otherwise. Okay? We're acting as if this is a heroes versus villains thing. No, this is just a villains versus villains thing. All right? And the reality of the situation is that you can actually leverage your power as the people, which is what you're supposed to be doing with the voting process anyway, to get what you want out of the government. That is what voting is for. That was the intent when they decided to make this a democracy. Okay? To put the power in the hands of the people to form the government that they would like to live in. That is the purpose of voting in the first place. Okay? So the ultimate power is an absolute with the government. Okay, that gives the power to the people. But the thing is that if the people are saying, we want this, and the government is saying no, and the people still follow along with that and go along with that, then now the people don't have any power. And now the government has all of the power. You understand? You feel where I'm coming from? So
No.
knowing that, okay, hold on. Knowing that, I'm almost done there. I'm gonna let other people go. Knowing that, this is why we say, okay, we're gonna make demands to every politician who's running, and if those demands are not met, doesn't matter who they're not met by, Democrat, Republican, white, black, male, female, doesn't matter. If they're not met, they're not going to get the vote. Period. That is what it is. Okay, the vote has a price. Okay, if they don't want to pay the price, I am fine with sitting on the couch. I'm not going to be ashamed of holding my vote just because Donald Trump is on the ballot. Okay, you're not going to shame me and guilt me and manipulate me into voting for someone who literally is telling us no to our demands, to the demands of the community. I mean, that makes sense. And that's what voting was originally supposed to be about from the beginning. Oh, God. Okay. Brother in the car wash right now. All right. Now, Hot Boy, you said no?
Yes, sir. I said no.
No to what?
No to voting rights decisions, and basically what you was explaining, the original reason behind voting. I want to know something though. What do you believe in voting, like, wholeheartedly? Like, you believe it makes a difference?
Well, yeah, voting has made a difference, yes.
In what? Like, just two things. Like, just name to like two things. Please and thank you.
Voting has made a difference in like two things. Well, voting has ended segregation.
No, it
Voting,
didn't.
Voting has ended segregation. Voting has put
Wait.
people.
Hold on, brother. Afro Elite. You know that black people. I mean, sorry, I think I can't say that. BLK people weren't allowed to vote. Why would YT people vote to end segregation? That's not how segregation got
No,
ended.
there was when I said segregation, black people had certain rights to vote. Black people were able to vote. Segregation didn't stop black people from voting.
What?
No, black people have been voting in this country with the 14th Amendment. Black people have, what was it, the 13th, 14th, 15th Amendment, I believe. My fault. Black people
Yeah,
have been,
it's the 15th. Yeah.
black people have been voting with the 15th Amendment. That was due to, but legal segregation was going on at the time. So
That could be
black people,
landowners, correct?
yeah, black people have
Afro,
been
they
able
have
to
to be
own land and do
landowners.
all of that since then. So
Yeah.
you didn't know that?
Yeah. What do you mean? I just agree. I just said the same thing you said with the 15th. Well, really, it's the 19th Amendment. But
No, he didn't know that. He
No,
didn't know that. He's
that's
like,
not what you
what?
said, brother.
No,
That's not
you
what you
didn't know.
said.
What is that
I asked
ethnic
you to
group,
tell me
That's
sir?
two
May
things.
we
Hold
know
on,
your
hold on.
ethnic
But
group?
no, I
Hold on.
told
Why
you
is this
one
lady
thing.
trying to?
Hold on. Everybody, hold on. Okay,
Somebody
man.
just
So
bust their damn head
chaos
open.
going on. Everybody, let's slow down. Let's slow down. You said, tell me two things. I told you one thing. You jumped up and said I was incorrect. And then I just corrected you. And now you're saying you
No,
didn't say that. You just tried to
Afro
correct me.
Elite.
You just tried to correct me. And you
Okay.
just said that black people could not vote due to segregation. And then I just said
Elite.
black people
Afro.
have been voting during segregation. So what are you talking about?
Afro Elite. What I specifically said to you was that black people voting did not end segregation. That's what I said, and that's true.
Okay, no. You also said black people did not vote segregation away. Black people were not able. You alluded to black people
Because
not
they're
being able to vote during
alluded
segregation.
is opinion based.
Okay,
I'm
all
telling
right.
you what I said verbatim. That
Okay, no, because you also said that white people didn't vote to end segregation. Okay,
they didn't.
okay. And I said black people were able to vote. We were able to vote people in all.
That's okay that they were able to vote.
Power.
You have to understand right
Okay.
now. Okay, so let me just get
Okay,
to my
well, here's the
biggest
thing.
point.
When it comes to the end of segregation, segregation wasn't ended by one single act of anything.
Exactly. It was about 4 to 5 acts.
Yeah,
For sure.
and us having the ability to vote was
So-
part of that as well too. Us having
Exactly. So
certain
this
voting
is
rights
the
was a part
point.
of that as well too.
So Afro Elite, just like you think
Okay.
right now that your voting makes a difference, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think that when you know for a fact that it doesn't? Your vote doesn't matter. It goes to the process before it gets to anybody's desk, and you know that the presidents are ordained since before they was born. It's
Well,
all
you
about
don't only.
bloodline.
Okay, here's the thing, brother. You don't only vote for presidents.
I know. No, this is one sector that I'm talking about.
Okay, well, you said voting. Period. You don't only vote for one president. Okay, you don't.
No, I
only
didn't
vote
say
for
voting
presidents.
period yet.
You
I'm
don't
talking
only
about
vote for
voting.
presidents. You said voting doesn't matter. Voting doesn't change anything. Voting has changed a lot.
No, I
on
said
state
your
and local
voting.
levels.
Yours. I didn't say voting doesn't matter. I said you voting doesn't matter.
Then
Us
who-
voting. You as in me,
okay.
us.
Whose
yes.
vote? Okay, whose vote matters? Whose vote matters?
Maybe the electoral college vote probably matters, but not really.
Okay, who's? And let me ask you for a fact, not probably. Whose vote matters?
No one's.
Nobody's vote matters on any level at all. State, local, city council, none of that.
Well, the thing is, like I said, really for which. Okay, so for who? Because you said not the president. Are we speaking on the president, or
Well,
are we speaking on everything that has to do with voting? Mayors.
you were talking about
senates.
the rights to vote. I wasn't necessarily talking about the president, even though the president does matter. Okay, but you were talking about the right to vote. So now I'm asking, because I think we've went into another conversation. Are you trying to say? I just want us to be clear on our stance. Are you saying that voting rights don't matter? Period.
Voting rights.
Because if our vote doesn't matter, it
The
doesn't matter if we have the right to. Right?
illusion of voting rights make us feel like we matter,
Okay.
but it actually doesn't matter. Do you really think? Let me ask you for real. Let me ask you, Afro.
Okay.
Do you really think that they left it up to you to have your vote be a part of who's the next president, who's in Congress, who's the governors, the state governments, who's in the local offices? Do you really think that your vote matters?
Yeah.
Like for real?
Yes. And
Yeah.
the reason why
All right.
okay, if you feel like it doesn't matter, before I explain why it does, you feel like it doesn't matter. You feel you must be of the opinion that everything is already premeditated and everybody's been selected and all of that, correct? And
Well, that's what the good book teaches. You are Christian, yeah?
Sir, I'm asking you about your belief. You're not at your.
I just share with you my belief,
sir. Every time I ask you a question, you flip it and ask me a question. I'm asking you the question.
Okay, I won't answer you with like that.
So
yes.
So in society, we are just pretty much sitting pawns of this elite class of I guess elite class of rich billionaires or 1% or whatever you call them, and there's no power in society that we have at all, period.
No.
All right. We have no power in society, period, sir?
No, we don't. Are you looking around at what's happening to us right now? Oh, I can't ask you questions. Okay, sorry.
No. I said when I ask you a question, you flip it and ask me a question. Okay. How were we able, sir, to get anything in society as black people? But I didn't actually get your ethnicity first.
What did we get?
Where are your people from, first of all?
Where are my people from?
Ethnically. Where's your family background from?
Blackfoot.
Blackfoot? So you're like an American Indian?
Pretty much, yeah. I guess that's the term I would have to use.
Okay, all right.
But then if voting was real, then I wouldn't just be able to use I'm native. But you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's fine. Okay. So listen, because I'm a foundational Black American. Okay. Foundational Black Americans have had many victories in this country as far as ending certain discriminatory laws, Jim Crow, all of these things, even though there is a lot of discrimination that we still have to fight against, but we have come a long way in a very short amount of time. Now, up until the point where now we have reparations being seriously talked about on local and federal levels now. So we have come a long way. You mean to tell me that all like us fighting our way out of slavery and then us gaining civil rights, that was a part of their master plan too?
Even though you could say that Jim Crow laws are gone, the effects and patterns of inequality that it created, it still exists.
Okay.
You got to know about wealth gaps, housing inequality.
I know about that. I know. I'm aware of that.
Just because they took like took us off the plantation, it doesn't mean that we're not still mentally enslaved. The same thing. Just because they legally ended Jim Crow.
Hold on. Are you trying to say there has been no progress in the condition of people from being in physical chattel slavery, where you are not considered a human being, much less a citizen? You weren't even considered a human being as today. Okay. Nope. Because there is still some stigma or some psychological damage left over. There's absolutely no change in our condition whatsoever.
No change. The only thing that has changed is the type of prison or the type of slavery. So you know what? Yes. The sort of slavery has changed, but we are still in shackles for sure. 100%.
Okay.
So you could say it's like moving someone from a jail to a prison. Okay, yeah, you're not in jail anymore, but you're in prison now. Oh, I'm not in jail. I'm happy to not be in jail, but I'm in prison. Damn.
Okay. And nobody is saying that we live in this paradise. I'm saying, has any progress been made? And you're saying none has been made, period.
No, none has been made
at all. Okay. So
if you look at, for example, the economy right now, right?
But hold on, before we get to that point, because we have everybody wants to speak, I'm sure. Before we get to that, what do we need to do then to make change? If no change has been made, what would change look like, and how do we get there?
Oh, you would have to bear arms and do things that I can't say on TikTok. So yeah, you got to fight for something, bro. Like
This is
actually
this
fight,
is
not
chaos
talk,
agent talk.
Okay, all
not
right.
talk
It
fight.
always goes to that. It always goes to that. But
Crash
okay.
out, y'all.
Oh, wait, wait,
But
wait.
here's the
If it
thing. If we
always
bear
goes to
arms,
that, then
sir,
that
sir,
means
hold
that
on, hold on, hold
that's a
on.
point, a
Hold
logical
on,
point.
hold
If it
on,
always
hold
goes to that,
on,
right?
hold on, sir, hold on. Let's say we do that and there's this revolution and we overtake the people in power. What do we need to change to actually see any type of change? What would you say needs to be changed? Because the way I see it, things have changed. Have not changed enough, but things have changed. Okay.
You would
Things have
have
not
to.
changed enough. So I'm asking you, you're saying things have not changed, period. So I'm asking, what would you like to see changed?
I would think that maybe you would have to dismantle the USD.
Okay.
Yeah.
So after that's dismantled, we would be out of this mental slavery you said we were in.
I believe that the only thing that still has a strong bind on us right now is keeping up with the Joneses through financial reparations, like doing all of this financial stuff, this financial race, how they use social media to make it seem like we got to keep up with this, keep up with that, how they just skyrocket prices. You know, bread at one point was what, 10 cent, 20 cent, 40 cent, 50 cent. Now it's like $6 for bread, bro. So with that being said, if you do just basic math, you will see that the money that's being earned, especially in these low income areas, are still the same thing. If they increase the prices times 5 and they didn't increase the what is it called?
Minimum wage.
Yeah, the wage. No, what is the wage? Minimum wage, right? Which is entry level wage, right? Or even still, people with degrees is starting off with entry level rate wage because I don't know, maybe they didn't do
Okay, well,
the proper procedure.
for the
Then
sake
you'll
of
see that
time.
we're getting paid the same amount
Okay,
as we
yeah,
did back then.
okay. For the sake of time, we overturn the elite, or we have a revolution, right? And we raise the minimum wage, and everybody has this universal basic income. It's kind of what it sounded like you're getting at, right? If we have that, that's the change that we need. And then we would get out of the mental slavery you said we were in.
No, that would not take us out of mental slavery. No, it
Okay,
wouldn't.
well, at this point, it seems as if there's nothing that we can do.
I said that from the beginning.
So there's no need to have this conversation.
What? I've only been answering what you've been asking, brother.
Well, no, I mean, you came up and you told me I was wrong. And you're pretty much
Wait, huh?
you told me I was wrong about voting having any type of power or consequence at all.
Yes,
Period.
that is correct.
Now you're saying that even
Voting
if
is fake.
we do have a revolution like you said we should have, and we change the problem that you said we should change, it still wouldn't matter.
Wait, hold on. I did not say to have a revolution. You said, let's say we have a revolution. So I just went
Okay,
along
you
with
said
that.
bear arms. So what were we gonna do with that? You alluded to that, sir. That's the
No, I
point you
didn't.
made.
I definitely said that.
Yeah,
But you don't
did
have
say
to.
that. I
You don't
really
have
did.
to. You don't have to bear arms with just weapons. There's multiple ways to do what needs to be done by bearing arms with using. Maybe you're good at cyber. Maybe you're good at technology. Maybe you're good at talking. Maybe you're good at getting places that nobody can get. We would have to collectively come up with everyone's strong suit and see a way with a clear plan on how to make things easier. But the thing is that the world is underpowered by the world is being ruled by people who are ruling the people that's ruling the world. You understand? So there's nothing you can do.
All right.
Voting definitely don't
Oh,
work.
thank you for your opinion. We got to keep the room going. I know Professor Allen wanted to come up and say something, and then we'll set the decorum and get stuff going. So, Professor Allen, you got it. If you're ready. If you're not ready, we can set the decorum.
Oh, hey,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm just pulling in the gate, and my neighborhood is the towers are overloaded. Really, my neighborhood has a contract with Spectrum, and I'm AT&T, so it kind of gets funny sometimes my service. But But I want to quickly say, our brother Tariq years ago said something very interesting, and I'm paraphrasing Tariq, but he said, and Dr. John Henry Clark said it before him in another way. But our culture suffers from what I believe our brother Tariq called the testimony culture. You know, in the church, we have all different types of people in the church, different levels of education, and no matter who you are, you can come up and just have a testimony, and everybody just says, like, "Amen." Go ahead, brother. Go ahead, sister. What I'm saying is that's damaging because everybody don't need to speak on everything. The gentleman, that hot boy, or I don't have my glasses on, whatever his name is, with all due respect, didn't know what he's talking about. It sounded like the line of questioning he gave you made me wonder if he's been in prison, and if so, how long, and what crime was he in prison for, allegedly.
Excuse me, sir. I know
Money
you're a
is the
homosexual.
solution.
No, hold
No,
on.
because he's a homosexual trying to make it
Let
seem
him go.
like I went to prison.
Hey, we're not doing
Sir,
that.
keep your homosexuality to yourself.
Nobody cut you off when you were speaking. Nobody did
But
that.
I'm a man. You
And he waited.
disrespected me, though.
You don't have to be emotional.
He waited.
You're a homo.
Yeah,
I'm not
Okay,
emotional. Look at my
he
face.
didn't-
Well,
check this out.
Hey,
This nigga camming up. Oh wow,
Okay.
it's not a
You're
dating
not hurting
show,
my
buddy.
feelings,
Calm
sir.
down.
You're a
Okay,
homo,
no, thank
bro.
you. No, thank you. No, thank you. We don't.
Yeah.
You don't even got a shirt on, dude. Of course.
Hey,
I'm not even surprised.
brother.
Okay.
Hey, Afro Elite, you see what I'm saying? You let them talk, and they'll tell you what's on their mind. Hey, what's on his mind is homosexual activity, which he probably learned in prison. People on this panel know the degree of women that I deal with. I just got out of a relationship with a supermodel, a woman.
Good for you,
You know what I'm saying? I love black women, and black women love me back. You know what I'm saying? So, but you know that don't hurt my feelings. You know what I'm saying? That I don't get in my feelings about that. But I do. But it is teachable because what's on my mind is money. That's what's on my mind. Money for my lineage, for foundational Black Americans. And on his mind is homosexuality, which he probably was exposed to in prison. That same prison mentality that had him talking about, we need to get rid of the dollar. He sounded like one of them Moorish people that say, just sign off your citizenship. It's dangerous because people in the actually come to your chat. Come to your space to learn. Somebody actually might think he knows what he's talking about, but I'm telling y'all as a scholar, that gentleman didn't know what the hell he was talking about. He claimed that money is the problem. USD, that's our currency, is the problem. And I'm professing that USD is the solution. If Black Americans get the USD that we deserve from a job rendered through slavery, if we get that money plus interest, not only would it fix our problem, it would fix the country's problem, because where would we spend it? We would spend it in the United States of America, and that would further, through tax revenue, fix our roads and fix the blight in this country. So he did not know a damn thing, excuse my French, an ounce of what he was talking about. And that ain't got nothing to do with sexuality. Now to the voting rights issue, I'm a little conflicted on that decision because that Supreme Court voting rights decision, although it did hurt a Black jurisdiction, my conflict comes from the fact that it damaged the Democratic Party, and that's a win because that's showing them, that's putting power and leverage on the Democrats. In other words, that's letting them know how serious foundational Black Americans are, and it's putting them into a position to either A, crash out, which is fine, just crash out, or B, make a deal, come to the table and make a deal, which would be fine as well. I'm to the point where I don't care which one it is, either crash and burn or come to the table and make a deal with foundational Black Americans. The way I look at the decision, we have a lot of people having spaces, and I'm not talking about you, Afro, but a lot of people whining about that decision. Well, they need to go back to 7th grade government and learn that we were taught there are 3 equal branches of government. That's not true. Since the Bush decision, the Supreme Court has proven that, in my opinion, the Supreme Court is the most powerful branch of government. Why am I saying that? With respect to law, and we're a nation of laws, the buck stops.
You're breaking
I'm
up,
talking and
Professor.
then
Professor, you're breaking up. I don't think you can hear us. Oh man, you're breaking up real bad. I hope it give it a couple more seconds. Professor, you're breaking up real bad. We're gonna just pause that right there.
Yeah,
Give it a
Afro. Well,
couple.
my I'm a go in Wi-Fi.
Okay. All right. Okay.
after will ZZ be coming?
Yeah, she should be coming. Yep. Should be
Okay.
coming.
I just want to say this. When people start talking about, well, we need to, trying to talk about bear arms, I want to say all divine honors to the ancestors, Micah Johnson and Christopher Dorner, like people who start talking about we need to do XYZ but never doing it, right? Trying to put the battery in somebody else's back, they ain't about that life, right? So there are ways to. So this is what I want to ask you. I don't even want to talk about that dude anymore, right? Like, bye. Um, so you said vote, you vote couch, but you're in a sanctuary city. Does that count for locals too? Because I'm in a sanctuary city. You
Well,
already know.
before he had cut me off, what I was getting at is that the whole idea about voting couch was not to have your vote be exploited or not for you to feel guilted and shamed into voting. All voting should be strategic, okay? Now, depending on what you may want, I may want something different from what somebody in Mississippi may want, or vice versa, or whatever. And I might have somebody on my local ballot that's different from theirs. Okay. So based off of my interest, what's in my local ballot and all of that, I may vote for this or that particular issue. I think we should be policy based people, and we need to start operating like that. So if there's a policy that benefits the community, we can get behind that policy, and we can support candidates that are that endorse that policy. That's what it's about. The vote couch was developed because the Democrats have been using your ancestors sacrificed so much for you to have the right to vote, and you're disrespecting them by not voting, and how dare you not vote? Your ancestors would be turning over in their grave. And that's weighed on the hearts of a lot of black folk, and that's why black people have been just like, well, I don't want to vote, but I would just feel shamed not to. Okay. And now that shame is over with. So to a lot of people.
Well, me myself, I kind of support what you said when it comes to the shame, being over with a lot of people. I mean, if what showed me that Democratic Party don't care about black folks in America is, during the whole George Floyd incident or whatever, Democrats had a majority in the Senate and the House. They could have easily passed legislation to help the black community, but they gave us kente cloth and a bowing ceremony. Like, you know what I'm saying? So voting Democrat for 60 years hasn't done nothing for the black community. I mean, it put a couple, high society blacks in power, but it didn't do nothing for the majority.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm waking up to it myself. Like, I'm looking at it or whatever. And, I'm looking at, I follow the money. I'm a real big finance guy. So I follow the money. And a lot of the federal aid that went into black communities, I'm from Detroit, so I look at these type of things. I'm from a big city, so a lot of the federal money that black communities were getting around the nation were allocated to the immigration horde that the Democratic Party let in as their new voter base. And this is proven. You can literally look up the funding that that they gave to schools, public schools. There's a reason why our youth are in a position that they're in. You know what I'm saying? Where they can't read at a certain level, their arithmetic is not where it needs to be. You know what I'm saying? And that's from lack of funding and lack of care in the same communities that put you in power. you know, and it's sickening that we still have people saying, if we just keep voting, it's going to change. I mean, it could have already changed. In my lifetime alone, I was born in 91. It's been 2 or 3 times the Democrats had power in the Senate, the majority in the Senate and the majority, president. It was a Democrat, and you know what I'm saying? We had the majority in all 3 phases of government. So, you know, a Democrat telling you that they're going to put this legislation in to help you out as a black man, woman, and child is a lie. And we can see it throughout the history.
Yeah. I'm going to say this before I let BX set the decorum, because we got a lot of people in here. If everybody could do me a favor and tap the screen, so we can get a lot of likes and more people can start coming in. I'm going to say this real quick, right? With the guy before, notice I wasn't even really refuting his points like that. If you guys notice that, I was just asking him, okay, well, if that doesn't work, what will work? Okay. He says, no, our vote doesn't count. I said, okay. I didn't argue that our vote counted. I said, okay. Okay. Since he was adamant about our vote not counting. Okay. All right. Whose vote counts? I think the Electoral College votes counts. Oh, like, okay, well, who do you know votes count? Nobody. Nobody's votes count. I'm like, okay, so it's already predetermined on every single election, no matter who's on a ballot, it's already predetermined, period. Like, all right, okay. So yeah, I'm like, how do we get anything? If everything was already master planned and predetermined, then we didn't get anything. I said, okay, all right. Somebody said, hey, don't tell me what to do. Let it go, bro. No, I'm not gonna let it go. Okay. Having a space. So notice that when it comes to people like that, it's always this deflection. These are people who will sit here, and we need to understand their play. We need to understand they're not here to benefit anything. Okay, listening to them is not going to help anything. You're not going to get any type of advice. There's not going to be a plan, not going to be a strategy, not going to be anything out of that. And I kept asking. He was like, I said, what do we need to do? We need to bear arms, have a revolution. Okay, then what? Okay, the problem's the US dollar. Okay, we get rid of that. Are we good? No. I'm like, okay, well, I mean, well, what? At this point, there's nothing. And these are the people who, they say, the problem isn't this, the problem is that. Okay. If we solve that problem, are we good? Well, no, now it's another problem. Okay. Is it another problem? It's another problem. These people are babblers. Okay. These people like to preach about nothingness and being a pessimist, and these people waste a lot of time. And when you let them keep talking, not even going back and forth, when you just let them keep talking, they will contradict themselves in 5 minutes or less every time, every single time.
That's just like the people that I see that are black that they be like, I want change in my community. I want my community to do better.
Thank you, but hold on, brother. We got to set the decorum. There's a lot of other people who.
Oh, okay, my bad.
All right.
Hi everybody. So when you come, well, thank you panel for immediately going on mute. Everybody else, please take a cue from the lovely panel that we have up here. When you are directed to speak, please lead with your ethnic group and if you're over 18. Pronouns are not required. You can volunteer them, but they're not a requirement. So I want to go to ethnic group because some people are still kind of confused. So my ethnic group is, I am a foundational Black American. That's the way I socially and culturally identify, right? What that means is that I can trace my ancestors to an 1870 USA census. We do not do the whole Americas, right? So the technical term, though, would be Black American. And in the 1980s, you know, they implemented the whole African American, but we are actively fighting to have that removed. So if you can't trace your ancestors to an 1870 USA census, then you shouldn't identify as an African American, a Black American, nor are you foundational to anything in this nation. You are your parents' country of origin, and that is fine. Some hyphenated with American. So if you have 2 Nigerian parents, you're Nigerian American, Ethiopian American, Ghanaian American, Jamaican American, and Haitian American, so on and so forth, right? If you're by ethnic, we understand one foundational Black American parent, one immigrant background parent. By ethnic is an acceptable, respectful way to say both your ethnicity so you don't have to feel like you're picking one or the other, right? We may ask you what's the other parent, right? Afro-Latinos and Latinos, we understand that you have some African descendancy, but here, you're in America, the United States, you are a member of the immigrant community or the Latino community or even the Afro-Latino community, but you're not a member of the Black community, right? So it doesn't make sense to come up here, we're all Black anyway, and I was raised in New York. Proximity does not mean same, really doesn't. And did you see Tyreek's show last night, Afro? Oh my God, he had a legend who explained how Black Americans and Puerto Ricans could live in the same area and still not mess with each other. So there's no way they could have created hip hop. Just have to put that out there. TikTok friendly language only. So if you're unsure of how to say a word because it might go against TikTok guidelines, please spell it out. We get it. If you can't say it on the panel, please don't write it in the chat. It's a 1 minute mute just to remove the comment because they heavily monitor platforms like this. Also, please, you see the orange heart by Afro Lee's name? Click the orange heart, complete your daily mission, and claim your points. It'll help keep them in the algorithm and get some fresh perspectives in the room, and it'll unlock some really cool gifts as you level up in his fan club. He has a subscription plan. He has a gift goal. And if you come up and turn on your camera, please have on a shirt. It's common decency and respect. Foundational Black Americans, we know better, right? Okay, don't have nothing that could go against TikTok guidelines, anything that could be considered, puff, puff, pass, pass, or liqueur, the hard spirits. I think that's off, right, Afro?
Yeah, that's it. That'll do. That
Okay,
will do. All right, let's get to Candy. Candy, how you doing?
Hey, brother Afro, and happy belated birthday, by the way.
Thank you very much. Thank you
You're
very
very
much. I
welcome.
appreciate that.
Yep, and hi, Sister BX. Hi, everybody.
Hey, Sister
Okay.
Candy.
Hey, all right, y'all. So I just like to say that I don't believe our votes don't count just because they fought a little bit too hard. And I don't mean a little bit, but they fought a little too hard for our votes not to count. I mean, people literally on the lives for the right to vote. And you guys all say that all the time to convince us to vote for Demon Rex. So I think this is good. I think this will put the Democrats in a position where they will have to actually fight for our vote. Now they don't have, these communities on lock anymore, these black areas on lock. They're going to actually have to do something to get our vote. Okay. So I'm sitting here hoping that that's something that's going to happen. All right. And I do want to add this that Dr. Claude Anderson said, vote, get registered to vote. He said, and we have to get a block. Once we get something that we all can get behind, we can stand on it. Something where they're all going to advocate for us. Okay? So what he wanted it to do was, instead of dividing votes among different political parties, he suggests that black voters should register independently and collectively decide to support candidates who promise to deliver the most benefits to our community, to FBAs. All right. And then once we get people who are willing to do that, those are the ones that can get our vote. All right. So block voting will allow black voters to strategically support candidates who address their issues, potentially swaying election outcomes in the favor of those who promise to deliver tangible benefits to FBA and our land.
Okay. Thank you very much for that. And there are some people who disagree in the comments, and that's fair. That's fine. If you disagree, I invite you to come up and we'll hear your disagreement out fairly. We'll hear your disagreement out. But you deciding to leave a comment and not come up because you don't want your comment or your stance to get pushed back, which means you fully don't believe in it. Okay, because if you believed in it fully, you'd be able to come up and stand on it. If you're not going to do that, that means you know it's flawed. Okay, you know you're going to get clowned, which defeats your own point. So you deciding not to come up defeats your point. Just letting you know that. All right. Nobody, how you doing, bro?
Salute, Afro. I'm doing good. And yourself, bro?
I'm good. I'm good.
Nah, I just see you intellectually packing up the other brother before about yeah, bro. I love the way you're Socratic about it, and again, like you don't insult, you just ask questions that even then you saw he kind of started breaking down. But going back to the prompt, voting rights decision. I think it's funny how when you have these conversations about the Democrats or any political, they automatically assume, oh, you're going to vote for the Republicans. No, we're showing that the Democrats have been wasting so much time with having power and not leveraging it properly. They've had president after president, and they decided not to actually have us in a position to where they wouldn't have to go to these other groups or try to sequester other really weird things to get us to support them. So now that we're seeing the Republicans break these things down, politically speaking, I think they want Black Americans to say, look, you guys should be screaming and crying. Like, no, we've always known the Republicans are going to break this stuff down. So I think what we're realizing is we're watching the castle burn. And the castle could have had a defense, but they decided to party. They decided to curry favor with all these different groups and not even thinking about the kind of the full fulfillment of what it would look like if we had power. So yeah, this is just a kind of a shout out to Malcolm RIP. This is us watching the chickens coming home to roost. So we can't protect the Democrats if they didn't decide to put us at a station point to protect the civil liberties of citizens across the country. I'll land my plane.
I appreciate that. ZZ, you missed. We had a little debate here going on. Somebody came up and he made the argument about, voting. Pretty much we have no power in anything at all, period. And essentially we never will. I mean, we don't have power in voting. Even if we have a revolution, it's not going to work. Like, it's pretty much no power. But the conversation we're having was about the Supreme Court's voting right decision and us having an overall conversation about Black people's right to vote, period. Has that been exploited? Is this a good thing? Is this a diamond in the rough, or is this a thing that's going to set the community back? Where should we go from this? It's a lot of people giving a lot of opinions about this. A lot of people have mixed opinions, some, leaning one way or another way. But what is your opinion of it?
Agreed. First of all, I didn't get this notification. Had no idea. I just got on TikTok. I was about to do something else. I said, and you literally popped on my For You page. I said, what the hell? Immediately got pissed. So sorry. I literally didn't get notification. I don't know what happened. So yeah, I thought you was just running late. I was about to text you. That's crazy. I just got to the crib. But anyways, yeah, so I'm seeing a lot of people using Black Americans as like a catalyst. Like the language is getting very confusing because people are saying like, oh, well, this is setting us back 100 years, Black Americans, but then they go to, well, this is affecting minority communities, and they go to this minority thing. So I'm like, I don't know. I feel like some of the people that are so concerned about this voting rights, the Voting Rights Act and the decision is more so concerned about these other groups, hint towards these immigrants, that may be affected by this, not really Black Americans. And I think they're trying to use us again, as they usually do. They're trying to use us to get riled up so we can fight for something that affects others more than us. And so I do understand some of the people that's some of the people that may be concerned, but also we've been through the worst of the worst. I mean, it's not at this point. Black Americans have fought every WAR, and we have came such a long way. At this point, I'm not really too concerned about nothing they do is really surprising to me. Nothing they do really scares me at this point. Our ancestors went through the worst of the worst. And so at this point, we just have to keep stand 10 toes and keep fighting and keep doing what we're doing, focus on ourselves, because they're always going to find a way to sabotage, manipulate, or continue to, attack us attack or oppress us in some way, shape, or form. So that's not really surprising, but people are trying to use this as a scare tactic to make it seem like we're going back to Jim Crow or we're when I think really, really a lot of other groups are more concerned or should be more concerned than we are, but we'll see. But you said somebody came up here and said that we don't have any power. Is that what they said?
Yeah, he said that we don't have any, our vote doesn't matter at all in any circumstance. Then I said, okay, well, what should we do? He said we should have a revolution. I said, okay, well, then like, will we win then? He said, no. I said, okay, then what do we need to do then? He said, we need to get rid of the US dollar. Then I said, okay, then. And I kept asking him, and he kept saying, no, we won't win then. We won't win then. We won't win then. And then eventually I just said, so there's nothing we can do. He's like, yeah. I said, okay. I'll sit down.
Yeah,
You do.
see, and that, but that's,
So,
see, that's what I'm talking about. This is that it's kind of like a scare tactic. A lot of people like to use, to make it seem that's what they saying. Jim Crow is back, and Black Americans be damned if Jim Crow come back. You tripping? You gonna have a rude awakening if you think you about to, y'all about to be doing the same shit y'all was doing to some of our ancestors doing Jim Crow today. And even then, you had a lot of our ancestors, they just don't like to talk about that. So yeah, no, that's just a scare tactic. I think a lot of people like to use. Again, that's again on the left side specifically. They try to use it to scare Black Americans into voting religiously for the Democrats. And oh my gosh, the right is so the YTs over there are so racist and so so evil and da da da. But they don't want to talk about how the left is sabotaged and oppressed us as well. So yeah, no, I'm not. Yeah, we definitely have power. We're the most powerful people on this planet, most influential. That's for damn sure. But yeah, so yeah, nah.
oh yeah,
Hey, go ahead.
absolutely, absolutely. Y'all make sure y'all tap the screen. We almost have 300 people in here. We gonna have a lot of, we need a lot more taps. Everybody tap the screen. Professor Allen, you want to say something?
Yes, sir. Real quick, brother Afro. To Sister ZZ's point. What I'm looking at from a tactical standpoint is we have an election season coming up, and a bunch of Shillery and operatives have been in these spaces. Your name came up yesterday, and I don't, want to bring drama, but your name came up. I don't know what it is.
I know you breaking up.
I'm like, that means
Like
The
this
ancestors said don't
is
do it.
that
They
was
said
so
don't do
dramatic.
it.
I'm not
But
gonna lie to you,
whose
Professor. That was
name?
really
ZZ or Afro? What name did he say, y'all? Did he say ZZ or Afros? I'm sorry.
He said my name came
I'm
up
about
and
to say
it
things to that.
immediately started glitching out and everything. That is like
Yeah.
the to be continued thing just pop up on the screen. That
Yeah.
was funny.
Oh wow.
Okay.
I remember that, Professor. I remember that, Professor. Yup. Sister, that's so
Okay, so are you with us still? Are you with us?
Yeah. Talk about something don't
Okay, hold on. You're
started.
breaking up a little.
Buckhead is a
You're breaking up a little
Wait,
bit.
wait, hold on. Afro, can we take that type of conversation to the back chat? This ain't about that person because I see the name in the chat. Like, we really don't care about him at this time. We are talking about something else.
Oh no!
If
I'm not
he
trying to
wants
bring.
not you,
Yeah,
not you,
I'm
not
not.
you.
No, we're not gonna have a conversation.
I'm not gonna bring that up. I was. If
No,
y'all can even
somebody
hear
wrote the
me,
name
I
in the
just.
chat, Professor, and he's like a nemesis to the platform, I guess
yes,
you could
ma'am.
say. Yeah, and they wrote the name in the chat, and I'm like,
Yeah,
really? Do we have to focus on him? Like,
It's not the problem.
yeah.
it's,
I'm not gonna do that. But I'm gonna quickly, while my internet's cooperating, say that coming into the chat to coming into our spaces to misdirect us. And that gentleman that came on earlier, Brother Afro, I think he was sent here to as an agent provocateur, because the core of his message really was we need to be anarchists against the government system. And I'm gonna close on this. Professor Chris Hedges says that's not a solution because the government speaks the language of violence fluently. They speak it a lot better than us. So he was coming in here with basically the premise of what he was saying is we need to just go against the government and take up arms, which is not a solution. Voting is a solution. The tactics we're using is a solution. The objective is to get our damn money. That's all I had to say.
All right. Appreciate that. I don't want to say I know the name of the person he's talking about. I don't want to say the name, but that person's in a white van outside his house. Like, jam the signal right now. Jam it. That is not a coincidence. The second you're about to say the name, the signal just start digitizing and jamming. That was funny. All right, but yeah, I mean, you have a lot of people. They'll bring me up and they'll make it seem like I'm some type of agent of chaos against the community or whatever. But when we're having a conversation, I'll invite them up anytime they come up or whatever, and they'll make a fool of themselves, and then they'll go back to their platform, and openly say they're not even really for reparations. I have a clip of the said person saying that person is not even really about reparations like that. I have him saying that out of his own mouth with me not in the room. Okay. So all it is, you're an agent against, okay. All right. You can say that there's no clip of me speaking against reparations in any form at all, ever. And it never will be. So, okay, we'll see. We'll see. But let's get to Sid.
Yes, good afternoon. Thank you for the space, allowing me to speak. So, in regards to the voting rights decision, personally, I think it was fantastic. I think it was one of the best decisions and outcomes that we'll see pending the upcoming birthright citizenship case. And if that goes the way that it's supposed to, and limiting it for people who are non-U.S. citizens or the descendants of non-U.S. citizens, and I think far from using it as a scare tactic, but people should actually be rejoicing in the fact that now representation for Black people on a political level will come more so from being typecasted as monolithic people, and allowing for the diversity of needs that exist in a community, whether that be Black, white, brown, etc., or otherwise. And if you just take a look, at how they will draw some of these maps, whether they be in Illinois or specifically in Louisiana, they have districts that are supposed to be represented from the top of the state to the bottom of the state. Again, simply because these people are Black, BLK, whatever. And I live in Florida, and I live in North Florida, and I can tell you now that the needs, the wants, the thing that politics is supposed to deliver for people in North Florida are completely different from the people in Central Florida or South Florida or West or East Florida. And the cultures is very different as well. So it's impossible to try to represent something like that. And that is just the result of the Democrat Party using us as political pawns and playing on the lowest elements of fear and propaganda that has sadly afflicted our people over the last, especially 60 years. And, it goes to show as well that, the stats prove that Black political representation and getting these people into office simply on the basis of race, or even in higher positions in private industry as well, have never been commensurate with overall Black development. It's in fact, as thousands more Black public officials got elected throughout the South, throughout the larger cities, Black progress slowed, in many cases reversed, or just stayed the same. And so now when we have people who can actually fight for our vote, who can actually do things that, answer the questions and solve the problems that we need, then I believe that we will see better progress, more accurate solutions to the things that these different people need across the spectrum. And I say that as a proud conservative, as a conservative voter, as someone who disavows the Democrats at every turn, because nothing that they do has shown to be good for us, but it's only come to the benefit of the Boule class or the talented tenth class who have succeeded and expanded tremendously since these specific racial demarcations were supposed to be allocated. But the common people can never succeed in such a scenario. So, and I think we really have to stop using the term or the name of Republican as like a scare tactic, because they're not victimizing us, but it's very much so the other way around. And I'll land right there.
All right. Let's get to, we're almost done with making sure everybody on the panel has spoken. Sage, are you with us, Sage? And the second I say that, here go on Teacup.
Yes, I'm with you.
Okay.
I had to disconnect you from my car. I just want to let everyone know I have a shirt on. I'm not like that last brother. And I just wanted to start off with that.
He turned on his camera when Professor Allen was speaking without a shirt on.
Yeah.
I don't know what I thought he had a moment. I don't know what he was doing. He just kind of flew off the handles at the end.
I don't know what it is, Afro. Maybe him debating with you got him more hot and bothered, but that's neither here nor there. Other than that, I think I'm in the majority here. I come from a city in which there's a specific religious group that they vote as a block in this city that I live in.
Mm-hmm.
So that tells me right there that your vote does do and mean something. I'll give you an example. There was and BX would know this very well. There's this whole thing that bike lanes are like people's number one enemy up here in New York now. Nobody is liking these new bike lanes, whatever the case is. And also speed cameras. There are no bike lanes in in certain areas in Brooklyn, and I'm sure up in the Bronx too, BX, there are no bike lanes up there. And it's said that this specific religious group says that they don't want women in sexually clad outfits riding through their neighborhood, enticing their men. Now, the fact that they were able to get a bike lane removed strictly by voting as a block lets me know that your vote definitely does have power. Now, I know this gentleman was talking about on the federal level. In order for us to get, in all honesty, in order for us to have gotten any type of civil rights going, we had to stand as a block. Everything in this world moves as a block. I'm sure the family up here already knows this, but I'm going to remind the family of the boycott that we had. The bus boycott. That was a block effort. When people get on the same page, when people get on the same code, things move. So I don't understand why the gentleman, I guess he was trying to say that our presidents can be pre-selected. And I could agree with that. Yeah, they could present to you who they want. Hey, pick out of these two people. But at the end of the day, you know, you have to pick. Yes, it does go to the Electoral College. I'm very well aware of that. But at the end of the day, there's a reason why Illinois has a certain amount of votes. New York has a certain amount of votes. Texas has a certain amount of votes. California has a certain amount of votes. It's based off of population. So I don't know if the brother was young. I don't know if... I do want to tell the brother that, yes, your vote does count, but that's why you leverage your vote. That's why you don't just vote for anything. You make your demands, and if nobody meets that demand, you don't vote for them. So I agree. I think that people should be getting registered, absolutely. In your local districts, if there's something that's pertinent that you need to vote on, yes, you vote on that, absolutely. But when it comes to these federal elections, unless they're giving you tangibles, you sit it out. Or as the so-called, who was supposed to be next president said, you know, you have the right to demand something for your vote. See, I agree with, you know, the Indian on that, East Indian. I agree with her on that. We should demand something for our vote. The only problem with her was that she wasn't offering anything. With that, I'm going to land.
All right. Appreciate that. Now let's get to, I think, K-Town Mo.
My man, what's up? Good hearing from you again. You know, I'm probably the long dissenting voice in all of this, but you know what I am? I'm open to listening and seeing what the plan is and how you're going to get somebody who represents what you guys are asking for, so that I can actually see it and make a determination on if where I am is the right place to be, and who you guys think would have plans that'll help our community. Because to me, I really don't give a damn how we help our community, is that if we help our community. And I'll give you a perfect example why. People ask me, well, why do you continue to vote Republican? Because I'm in Chicago. I'm in Illinois. I'm in transportation. And the bill that we just passed, $1.5 billion, I always bring that up because behind that bill is a lot of black faces who have jobs, who provide for their families, who actually have to use the system to get around, and it absolutely helps them. There are also other bills that you can go online and take a look at that actually helps people in this region. What I'm sick and tired of us is always complaining and expecting someone to do something for yourself. You have a right to take your vote and say, you know what, you're not getting shit unless you do this. Guess who told us that a long time ago? Frederick Douglass said, power concedes nothing without a demand. So you make your demands, and then people like me who, I'm not going to call you names. I'm going to listen. I'm going to see why you think that way, try to figure out a way to get your ideas to sometimes line up with the way I am. And we can get consistent coalitions to go about this where we actually affect what's in our community. When you get to a point where I'm at, when you can hire people and you can help young men who's getting out of, prison not commit recidivism and go back, you do those things, you do it quietly, then you get the people around you to get in there and help you with it, and you try and grow it so that these people don't always think we're looking for something from them. That's the conservative side of Mo. The liberal side of Mo is I want everybody to have a living wage. I want everybody to have health care.
Can
women.
I ask you a question so I can get
Sure, go ahead.
cleared up, right? You use the word complaining, and I find that interesting, or asking for something, right? And I find that interesting because how are we going to expect, whether you're conservative or liberal, how are you going to expect any type of change if you don't voice your issue? And it seems as if every time we voice our issue, it gets deemed as, well, black people just need to stop complaining and black people need to stop complaining. Well, if we stop complaining, that means we stop bringing the problem up. And if we stop bringing the problem up, the problem is not going to fix itself. The issue is not going to fade away. So when people, and I'm not saying you're saying this, but I'm asking, where's the line between complaining and whining or addressing an issue?
I can explain it to you. What you guys are here, you guys are speaking in terms of how you affect change, right? I don't call this complaining. I call this is constructive conversations that we all should have. We should never be a monolith on anything. You have to listen and hear other people out to see where they stand, why they stand a particular way before you even have an opinion on it. Just because when I say people complain is the ones who come here to these meetings, they don't do any research about anything. All they know is their life is terrible, and they never look within and see a lot of the opportunities that are out here for them to improve their lives and continue to demand more. That's what I'm talking about. Don't sit here, come to me and complain, and then you don't do anything to make your life better and to make the situations better. That's what I'm talking about.
All right. Well, thank you for that. Everybody, real quick, can we tap the screen? We can get to 50K in a couple minutes. We almost got 300 people in here. All right. Now, I do have a question because you were saying something in the chat room about you like the governor.
I love my governor.
You like
Absolutely.
you're in Chicago, correct?
Yep, I'm Pritzker.
So
I love him.
you like J.B. Pritzker. Okay, and you said you want him as president? You want him as president?
I would love. I don't think he'll win. He's too short. We haven't had a president under 6 feet in a long time, and he's only 5'9", and he kind of heavy. So, but yes, his policies. People who don't live here hate it, and sometimes I say is go and look at what the bills that they have passed in Illinois, and a ton of people don't want to pay any taxes, and I get that. I'm not like that. And I think he's doing a great job. He's done a lot of things that has helped this state.
Can I ask you a question, just so we can get to the next speaker, so everybody has had a chance to speak? Can you name a couple of things? I'm not going to ask you to name like 5 things. Can you name a couple of things, a couple of reasons why Black Americans should get behind J.B. Pritzker, not just for the governor of Illinois, but also for the president?
Yeah,
he didn't have a chance.
He's a real businessman, just like Trump. His transportation bill that he passed in this state actually is going to help a lot of people, Black people in the neighborhood who absolutely needs it. It provides jobs for them. That's the most important thing for people, is be able to feed your family. It even helps the Ruby Red downstate Illinois people who absolutely despise us here in Chicago. He even gave them money. Second, he lowered insulin in this state, where if you have insurance and you're going to pay for your insulin when you have diabetes, they can only charge you $30 a month. He made it affordable for people. There are programs where if people need child care and they don't have enough money, which affects the Black community tremendously when single mothers have to go to work and they can't afford what it costs to put their kids in daycare. they get breaks and help from this state
Okay.
outside of what they get in the federal. And that's why I say always go and look and see what's passed and how things can
Okay, well,
help you and your
for the second
family.
time, for the second time. First off, I want to thank everybody for the likes. Appreciate that. Shout out to y'all. Appreciate that. We almost at 50K, so thank you for that. But
All right,
I
bro.
want you to understand this is your elevator speech to the black community. You said the transportation bill he signed and low insulin prices.
Yeah, things that are small things that are big things for
do
people with.
you think at large, I'm talking about they say it's like what 40 to 50 million black Americans in this country. You think at large black Americans are going to get behind that?
Well, yeah, if you do see you have to have skins on the wall. What that means is you have to pass bills that actually help people and communicate to them that when you get to a higher level, it won't just be transportation. It'll be things that we can do, public, private, together to provide better paying jobs for people around the country. Think in mind of what our people who are in, as I say, in food industry, that they're guaranteed $14 an hour. And then if you work a certain amount of hours, you can get it all the way up to 16 to $18 an hour. It doesn't sound like much to people, but for those people who are, say, like in Arkansas or Alabama, if you did the same things there, that would change their lives. You have to communicate with people. You got to listen to people, and you got to go stand in front of people who do not agree with you. I hate that people don't do that.
All right. Well, thank you for that. We'll circle back to that because I have a couple opinions on that, but we'll circle back to that.
All right, bro.
I want to get to Rick, and he's been patient, so I want to get to him. Let him say what he has to say.
All right, yeah. How you doing?
I'm good. How you doing?
Not too bad, man. I'm doing pretty good. So yeah, I just I've been on panels. I've been on TikTok probably for probably a total of maybe 2-3 years. I've recently in the last probably year gotten on like the political side and social issues side, and because I see a lot of things taking place in society that are indirectly or directly affecting pretty much everyone, but I primarily care about the black community. So with that being said, I'm trying to figure out, let me see how I ask this. Like, I'm trying to force some clarity and, some specific, or I guess specific, I can't say the word, specific stuff that you guys are wanting, or, what are the trade-offs or consequences of what's happening. I'm trying to get a better understanding because I hear different stories and different beliefs and different,
Okay. I get where you're coming from. Now, when you say you guys, who are you referring to? Us on the panel, or who are you referring to exactly?
Well, yeah, I would say you guys on the panel, but there seems to be so I know you guys are a lineage-based kind of movement, I guess if that's what you want to say. That's the best way I'll put it. I know it's a lineage-based thing. I know it's not a political thing necessarily. Maybe you have to be involved in politics, obviously, but it's not a political party.
I mean, it's not. Some people are, some people aren't.
Yeah.
Everything you do is politics, so
Yeah, you'll be involved in either one way or the other. So I guess because by definition, I would be a foundational black American because my grandmother and my grandfather, my grandmother and grandfather, my grandfather specifically, he's from Charleston, South Carolina, Holly Hill, a small town outside of there. And we've been, he's been there. I have pictures of my ancestors dating back to probably like I have a couple of pictures actually, of them dating back to like 1860s. And I found records and stuff. So based on definition, I'm a foundational black American. I don't know.
Well, let me answer the question for you. Let me answer the question. And there's no leaders of the lineage or anything like that, so I can't speak on behalf of anybody, but based off of the conversations I host and the lives and the people I talk to, we are all in agreement on the fact that the number one thing will be reparations. Okay, that's number one, first and foremost. Okay, now reparations as in totality. Okay, so that starts off with a direct check to people who are FBA exclusively, and then other subsequent policies that are meant to repair the damage that has been done throughout American history. Okay. As far as, repairing and making the community whole. So pretty much is going to be, tangibles across the board, That's the way they put it, right? On top of other legislations that would protect the community from outside harm, like a crime, anti-HATE crime bill that would protect the community from outside forces, such as a Dylan Roof or Peyton Gendron or Ryan Palmetto or anyone, because we have multiple incidents of people coming into our community specifically looking to commit mass acts of harm, right? And I'm just being very PG with my language there, but you know what I mean. So there needs to be specific legislation there that protects our community from that, the same way that they establish with Asian Americans or other religious communities. We're expecting no less than that. We need more, actually, because when you actually look at the numbers, we're victimized more. So we need more, but we're expecting no less than what everybody else gets, because the crimes that are committed towards us get underreported. All right. And including by the police too. We have police who are committing these mass acts of harm. So that needs to be addressed as well too. So these will be the top demands. Okay. And then there are other demands depending on maybe the state you live in or the city you live in. Certain cities may need certain different things that other cities don't. So it kind of goes on that in general.
Okay. All right then. So I know with the reparations, that's a deep conversation. And
do you agree with that before we continue? Do you agree with that?
So for me, I like whoever wants reparations, I believe that they are owed. And I would stand by people in my community that want reparations. I personally don't want anything from the fucking government because they just have a way of manipulating and doing this hang it over your head thing and all this other thing. And I just don't like them in my business at all. Even today, I don't like the IRS, any of that shit today, to be honest. And so just being connected to the government is like not one of my goals. It's not one of my goals. I try to stay off far away from it as I can. I mean, I obviously I have a business, so I have to be involved that way. But I try to, navigate around it as much as possible. But I think that, want to reference, there's nothing wrong. We definitely are owed. Now, whether or not we will get them anytime soon, that's another story. Because for somebody like Viola Fletcher, the last living member, or I believe she was the last living citizen of the Tulsa, Oklahoma massacre, she just passed away last November 2025, and she didn't get a dime. And so it's hard for me to believe that, whoever's going to be in control of distributing this would even give anybody, because what I think is going to happen, they're going to piece by piece it because they don't want it to make any huge impact all at one time. That's why you see some states giving it here and some things happening here is because they will say, yes, we've given them out. And I don't think they're going to give some big package of legislation and check and reimbursements and tax exemptions and all that stuff.
But you wouldn't be in support of it if they did agree to it.
No, I would be in support of it. I mean, hey, if my people want it, yeah, that's fine. I don't care. I mean, hey, and I wouldn't say like I'm definitely not against it at all. I just don't want the government. I don't want us to be connected to government because they've done so much harm to us. And so that's my stance on it. But but my main belief, really, in just a simple statement, is I don't believe they're going to give us anything that would give us the opportunity to liberate ourselves, to be above them, because that's what that would do. And I think they are in fear of us being above them and having the same thing done to them that they've done to us. Because I've heard white racist men on here saying that.
Well, okay, all right then. Did you not know? Because you said that you understand about the lineage-based movement. It's not a political movement. It's a lineage-based movement. So I'm sure you've heard of the demands for reparations, correct?
Like, I don't know if there's an official package out there as far as
what I mean is I'm sure you are aware that there is a growing demand in the black community for reparations, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because when you came up here, you said that you want to know exactly what we're demanding. You said you're new to the political thing and you want to know what we're demanding. And then the longer you keep talking, it sounds like you're pretty informed on it. And you've already have an opinion about it.
Yeah, I mean, I've picked up a lot of information really fast. Like you'd be like, "What the hell you been doing?" Just this. I have a OneNote, OneNote notebook full of racial, political, all types of stuff. I even have reparations and the things that could come under those 5 different pillars.
Well, and the reason I'm asking this is because most of the time when people come up, which is why I answered genuinely, but most of the time when people come up like, hey guys, I'm very new to this conversation. I don't know what's going on. Can someone please explain it to me? Most of the time, like 9 times out of 10, they are very well aware of what is being discussed. They already know people's stances on everything. They already have their opinion on certain things, and they're asking a bunch of questions in an attempt to get somebody to slip up.
Oh, no. So, okay, so let me say this.
Okay.
It's not an attempt to slip up. And when I say I'm not informed on it, I'm not informed on the FBA movement in this lineage-based claim. That's what I'm not. Reparations, that was talked about before FBA became a lineage-based claim, I believe. So it's more so.
You said FBA, right?
Yeah.
Has anybody in this room said FBA?
Well, aren't you guys all associated with Foundational Black Americans? I've seen it.
It's not being associated, but hold on, no.
You are
hold on, sir, hold on.
Okay.
You said FBA. Nobody in this room has said FBA yet. At least by the time you came up and said that. That means you are very well aware of FBA, of us being the lineage, of us having a movement, of us having our demands for reparations, of all of these things. Yet you came up and said, I'm new to this side of TikTok. I'm trying to learn. And you gave the impression that you didn't know anything. Now you're talking and we see you know a lot more than what you let on.
No, I wouldn't say I know a lot because I really don't. Like I'm trying to figure out because, like I said, I've talked to several people that claim they're FBA, and I get contradicting things. So it's more of a getting clarity, maybe I should say I need clarity on what this is, because maybe I have one person saying this and another. I'm like, okay, well, which one of you is truly an FBA, or what is your beliefs versus your beliefs? They don't align. So who is the FBA? That's what it is.
But you also said that it's not a political movement too. And you also said that it's a lineage-based movement.
Yes.
So there's not one solidified opinion by FBA. There's no FBA handbook and say, well, this is the guidebook of Foundational Black Americans. You got to follow the rules. It's not that. So you already said that you know that. Now you're saying you wanted clarity. So I'm trying to get at. You're asking for clarity, and it sounds like you already are well aware of this.
Okay, well, I don't know a lot. I do know some. Obviously, I've been on TikTok, and I've been in panels, and I've heard people discuss it. To be honest, let me tell you exactly when I started knowing this was an actual thing. It was just last year I found out this was a thing. I didn't delve into it much because I didn't know it was so widespread, and it was a big conversation. I had an account, I deleted it, restarted another one, and somehow I got turned left on this algorithm. And I got on the panel, and it was, there was Africans and then there was Black Americans, and they were going back and forth. And I thought it was a fucking roast session at first. I was like, what the hell's going on here?
Now, but, let me get in here. Okay, before we get you off track, you said your grandfather on your dad's side is from North Carolina?
So on my mom's side, my grandfather is from South Carolina. On my dad's side, his mother, my grandmother, is from North Carolina. Yes. Okay.
And you grew up in North Carolina, correct?
Like I'll say 50-50. So 50% of the time I was in North Carolina, and I'm back in North Carolina now. But we moved up to, my dad got remarried and moved up to Michigan. So I grew up like in the middle. Like I grew up from like the age of 11 to about 24, and I'm in my early 30s now. So I spent about maybe 11 to 24. Somewhere around 10, 12 years, something like that.
Okay. So all four of your grandparents,
Mm-hmm.
your mom, both her parents, your dad, both his parents, are from North Carolina.
Yes, so my dad's side, both from North Carolina.
Your dad's side is both from North Carolina. Where's your mom's
Yes,
side?
my mom's side is, so my grandmother, she's from North Carolina, but my grandfather's from South Carolina.
Okay. So I don't know why this is, okay. So your dad's side is from North Carolina and your mom's side is from North Carolina and South Carolina.
Yes.
Okay. And then when your dad got remarried, he moved to Michigan and you moved with him.
Yes.
All right. And then, so
when I
there's
was
no
about-
type of immigration, nothing in your background whatsoever.
Oh, hell no.
Okay.
No.
All right. I find it very interesting that because it's weird when people say that they would give up reparations. Most of the time is because people don't qualify for them. So that was the most striking thing that you said is like, I don't want the government to be involved in anything I do. 9 times out of 10, that's because those people don't fully qualify for it.
Oh no. The reason for me is that, like, as a people, as a black man in America, the government, I don't believe that we've had to go through legislation for any equality, and I don't believe that we should be asking or want something or take something from somebody where we had to get knocked across our head for freedom. And that's my belief. I wouldn't even advise that a black man serve in the military because they don't fight for us right here on our own fucking land. So I'm just not a proponent of, the government will always want to see the best for us or anything. I don't believe that.
Well, is it because the government doesn't want to give it, or is it because you don't want it? Because if we made the government do it, why would that be an issue?
Because when you get things from the government, I feel like there's always something tied to it. Because I believe what will happen is, okay, say we get reparations, then anything that we say thus far will just be completely denied. It will be like, oh, well, you don't say anything about that. You can't say we repaired this shit. You know, for me, like I said, the government has never looked out for our best interest.
Okay. Oh yeah,
So
I got you.
You know.
I got you. Well, I'm gonna be honest, brother. I'm gonna have people, have an open panel for a little bit, then bring some other people on. But I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be honest with you. It's coming off kind of suspicious. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's kind of odd. I'm just asking questions and getting a clarification.
Yeah.
And it's a little odd. Let me ask you another question. Have you heard anything? Have you heard anything? Have you heard anything in this room by any of these speakers that you disagree with?
I haven't. I wasn't in here too long, but no, I don't think so.
And you wanted to come up to ask us what our demands are.
Okay, so that was one of my questions. Yes.
And your other question was what?
My other question was, okay, so like in terms of voting, because we know, like, well, as far as population, we're 43 million, whatever, 14-15%, whatever they say. Our vote alone, just with us in general, we don't have enough to even make 50% of whatever party we're trying to get to win. We're very powerful in swing states, where our population is 20 to 30%. Now, if that's the case, we have the ability, because the margin of swing states is normally between 1 to 3%.
Brother, I need you to get to the question real quick.
Oh, the question. Okay, so what evidence can you provide to me that shows that this movement strengthens our vote rather than weakens our collective power?
Okay. What evidence can I provide to you that it strengthens our vote?
Yeah, basically.
Well, it's not even about. It doesn't. It's not about strengthening our vote. Our vote has always been strong. We've just been misusing it. That's your answer. We just been misusing it.
You're not like you guys aren't dead set on any side, or are you?
No, we're dead set on the side of the community. That's it.
who do you believe will give you the best, or who do you think right now will give you the best return on your investment, your voter, your numbers?
Are you asking for a politician specifically?
Well, just, I mean, yeah, which side
Or are
would
you
you lean
asking Democrat or
toward?
Republican?
I would say, okay, so there's a spectrum from far left to far right. Like, where in that do you believe you would get somebody in a moderate position, or somebody far red, or far blue? Like, you don't have to give me a specific person or anything. Just like, do you feel like somebody like let me see. Hold on one second, because I'm trying to do my research, especially local, especially here in my city.
I know you were being coached.
Mm-hmm. He's trying.
What do you mean? I'm
Okay.
not being coached. I do my own research.
Okay. You're asking who do I feel like between the spectrum of left and right, who would be the most willing to give it to us?
Yeah.
Well, considering the fact that from left to right and every color in between on the spectrum has said no, whoever is going to be the most willing is going to be the one that we put the pressure on. So whoever we put the pressure on, whether that be blood red or sky blue, that's who's going to give it to us.
Yeah, I mean, and the reason I'm asking is because, like, so say something like you were asking, you said reparations.
Uh-huh.
Now I need to do a little bit more research on the candidates that are more for that.
Now, let me ask you a question before you go. You said now you think it weakens our vote. You're concerned about that, right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't want our vote to be weakened, right?
No, absolutely not.
That makes sense. That makes sense. I mean, who would? But I can't help but remember you saying that you didn't want any parts of the government when it comes to reparations. So when it comes to reparations, hold on,
Reparations are no longer.
sir. Hold on. You said when it came to reparations, you don't even want it because you don't trust this government. There's always something, and you don't want nothing to do with them. All of that. Okay, fine, we get it. But when it comes to voting rights, yeah, we got to keep those voting rights. So you would pass on reparations from the government that you still want to vote for.
You didn't finish the sentence though. I said I would stand alongside my people if they want. That's what they want.
But no, I'm talking about your belief personally. You feel like it's a concern. You feel like it's a concern that we have less voting power or less political power. But you also said that you don't want to be a part of the government and you don't want anything, quote unquote, from the government, including reparations.
I mean, we have to look at the picture. We live in reality. So I know that the government plays into our lives. But at the same time, I advocate for self-efficiency, self-determination, and being able to create our own ecosystem. I don't want anything from the government, but if I by default I have to participate in it, and my people want my support in it, I'm all for it. But for me, I'd like to be I'd like to have my own agency about myself and my community. The ability to create things without the interference of others, like the government coming in.
Well, okay. Let me ask you, if besides reparations, what is there to vote for? That's my last question. Then we're going to get to other people.
I would say legislation in terms of property. Like when it comes to because I believe we need to separate from the white institutions that we're under. We are harmed by them on a daily basis. Our women are in medical practice, men in the police system.
Okay, I guess we need to separate, and we need to have property. So we need to have our own separate our own separate domain, kind of like how the Indian tribe have it.
Yeah, we need legislation to protect us from this eminent domain that they can have. That's what gets us, and we can't protect our communities because they can just come in and just say, "Oh, we need to put a road through here," and then they can destroy it and displace it.
I got you. All right,
those type of things. Yeah.
All right, I got you. All right.
It's like he's kind of playing dumb though. Because
now y'all heard that, right? Can we get the likes up? We don't even have 50,000 likes, y'all. Come on, let's get the likes up. We having a good conversation here. Let's get the likes up. Let's get the likes up. So wake up.
Y'all in the comments.
All right. Does anybody, I guess everybody on the panel spoken before we cycle things through. Does anybody have any comment on what Rick had to say, or anybody have any comment on the conversation thus far?
It feels like he playing dumb because reparations equals separation. I mean, I don't know if you've heard of some of the reparations. I mean, I can't really trust nothing you say now because I just feel like you're playing dumb. I'm going to use a weaponized confidence. But
Yeah, true.
If you haven't, people like Elijah Muhammad have suggested things about us getting states, things like others have suggested us being tax free. So all reparations includes separation. It's damn near the same thing when we're talking about reparations. It means we are separating from from the dominant society, which is why they don't want to give it to us, because they exploit and siphon from our community so much. They really need us, which is why they don't want to give us reparations. So you saying that, I don't want reparations, I'm not going to take that, but I'll still vote, is essentially saying I don't want to separate, I just want to continue to stay under this system. That doesn't really make sense. I mean, it's a contradiction within itself. Giving us
Amen.
paying a debt that's been owed for over 400 years now, would empower our communities. That would give us the power to buy our own land, to enforce certain legislations, and again empower our people, put our people in political positions, so we don't have to ask for anything else after that. We wouldn't have to demand anything else after that, because we would be under our own political power. We would just be operating within ourselves. So to say that you're not for that, but to turn around and say, well, yeah, I'm gonna stand with my people, like, that doesn't make sense, sir. Did you return that stimmy check? Did you return that tax refund you got? Did you return, like, that doesn't make any sort of sense for you to say, well, yeah, they're just going to sabotage it. Because also, if we talk about history, we've done for ourselves. If we're going to talk about doing for ourselves, if you're going to talk about self-sustaining and having your own agency, we've already been there, sir. I don't know if you've heard of Tulsa or many other Black Wall Streets we've already accomplished, we've already done and built, that were also sabotaged, sir. So I'm like, are we damned if we do, damned if we don't? You're not really making sense, sir. Do we do for selves and still get sabotaged, or do we stay under the system and continue to be sabotaged as well? I would rather go back. I would rather do for self, but also get that debt that's paid, okay? Because like I said, we've already done that on our own, and it was destroyed, and we're supposed to, like you said, the last victim from the Tulsa riots was unalived last year, should I say? I don't want to say the word, but unalived last year. So yes, that family, those people from that city are still owed. Are we supposed to say, no, they not supposed to get what they're owed? But we still going to keep our heads down and vote? That, I don't know, it sounds very Democrat shilless, but, what do I know? Maybe you're not. Maybe you were independent or something, but it just sounds like you're chilling for the dams, but I don't know.
Anybody else have any comment?
Yeah,
or anything?
I would like to just respond quickly, and then I'll drop. I agree.
Yeah, let me go after the brother.
With
I didn't hear
the brother
anything.
Rick, to the extent that I agree to him to the extent that the government historically has always proven to be more disastrous than it is helpful. Right after the Civil War, they essentially left us to fend for ourselves, and it was disastrous on us because starvation, sickness, illness, by a lack of responsibility on their part, led to 25% of all newly freed FBAs dying for just want. Everything that the government today puts its hands on, and segregation was a government enforced institution. Everything today that it puts its hands on and opportunity to so-called help us has taken us backwards. It's increased dysfunction in the community. It's broken up the Black family. The Black dollar has raised, but the way that we circulate it in and of itself has essentially completely disappeared. And so those things have never proven to, as he said, they've always proven to come with catchphrases or clauses or fine prints that end up diluting the result or the intended benefit and having more consequences in the end. But I'm not going to speak on reparations. I am a conservative, and I don't I'm not a reparationist, but I won't speak against it. That's for other people to do it. And just in regards to K-Town's point, I know you said you appreciate the governor, but if you look at the grand scheme of things, since 1994, all these major cities, and Illinois included, and specifically Chicago, are bleeding Black people, are bleeding FBAs. 300,000 from the city since 1994. In LA, 400,000 Black people have left since 1994. In New York City, 300,000 have left since 1994. In the city limits of Atlanta, 100,000 have left since 1994, and they're going to these suburban red led areas. And so you can't say, I don't believe it. I agree with much of what you said, but you can't say that the policy that I'm assuming, I don't know if he's been a governor for 4 years or 8 years, that he is a continuation of is overall beneficial for the black community, because people vote with their feet. And if they're telling you that they can't survive and showing you by going somewhere else for greener pastures, then how will the continuation of those programs continue to help us, or those policies? Again, thank you for the space. I think this is a great and needed discussion. I'll land and I'm gonna listen from the comments.
I have a
Hey,
question.
I can respond to him if
Hold on, y'all.
So, am I hearing that some people don't really agree with reparations, but do they agree with restitution?
Yes, I definitely believe that we are owed for our ancestors' labor that they weren't paid for. That's just logical sense that we should have
Okay,
been paid for.
stop there, because it was a wait, Afro. It was a trick question, right? Because see, reparations has 5 pillars. Restitution is one. We're not going to the bargaining table with one chip. Y'all people, you know
First
what,
off, I'm aware of that. I'm aware of
I'm
it.
done. That it was just a
You're
trick
making
question
assumptions.
because a lot of
no, I
people
can.
be like,
If
we
you
don't
want, I
need
can
right.
answer
I was
you, man.
totally
Because when you pay
quiet. I was totally quiet
Stop.
when everybody was answering. I'm talking to the host now. Thank you. It really boggles my mind that it's a matter of semantics and stuff and just wanting to be different, right? Reparations does have. Go on mute. All right, I'll mute you. Thank you. Reparations does have 5 pillars. Restitution is one. We're also asking for certain protections, right? The promise to never ever do it again. And while we're at it, we need to put it into mass incarceration because that's a vestige of slavery. So is the school to prison pipeline. Right? So it was a trick question, and usually American Indians are the ones who want just restitution because they want land back. And I be telling them, we are going to the table with more than one chip. Why go with one chip so they can bargain it way down? We got to go with everything because it's going to be about a compromise, honestly. That's just my thought, Afro. So that's why I was quiet, just listening.
All right. Sage, you wanted to say something? Sage. And he goes on teacup. Okay.
How you doing, brother? I had to take myself off me. Sorry about that. I have a quick question for the brother. Did you, to the brother that I was talking about, he doesn't want anything from the government. Let me see. 2 quick questions, brother. Do you own any property in this country?
No, not currently. No, I have a mortgage. That's about it. But I don't own the property.
Oh, you own a mortgage. That means you own a property, right? If I'm not mistaken.
No, land I don't own, but the house, they could come in at any time and raise their property taxes. Then I can't afford them. Then they take the house. Like I don't own the land.
Got you on that one. If you don't mind me asking, what is your rate? Your mortgage rate?
You mean percentage? Yeah,
you can give me a ballpark. You ain't got to give me the exact.
Shit, I bought my house like what was it 2 years ago? Two years ago. So it was about 6.4.
Okay, not a problem. So and when you purchased that property, right? You wanted the best mortgage rate, correct?
Yeah, but at that time there was a housing thing going on where the interest rates were just terrible.
I'm stay with me, brother. Stay with me. But you wanted the best mortgage rate, correct? Now you do realize the mortgage rates are who controls the mortgage rates, sir?
There's multiple things. The housing market, it's
sir. Let's not be who controls
availability
the mortgage rates,
versus
brother?
who's buying and how much is being bought.
Brother. Who sets the mortgage rates, brother?
It's just, I'm not sure exactly who sets it, but there's determining factors. It depends on how many people, how the market is. There's bubbles that happen, the bubble bursts. There's all types
Who employs Jerome Powell, sir?
You said who?
Who employs Jerome Powell, who's in charge of the mortgage rates today, as we know it? He's a 10-year treasury. Who employs him?
I guess the government.
Correct. So is that not a handout, sir, from the government, sir?
Well, I guess temporary one. I guess I don't know. I
So
mean,
you
I'm paying
did
it
take a
back, so
handout
I don't
from the
know. I don't see
government,
that
but
as
you
a handout
moved.
because I don't see that as a handout. For one, because I have had to work very hard to accomplish it to be able to get to it, and I'm paying into it. I would actually prefer if I could go back. I'd actually not be living in
Oh
a
Lord.
neighborhood. I'd probably be off somewhere and
Okay.
out further in some land. You know,
In the middle of the
being
woods, just living off the
self-preserving.
land like a
No,
ranger or
I don't
something,
prefer
right?
no.
Off the grid.
I'd own the property, own the home on the property,
Got
and
you.
just be a little bit more self-sustaining. Because
Got you.
if the world were ever to go to
Okay.
shit, these cities are going to go to shit, and I
But you
would
did. But
prefer
hold on,
not to,
brother, because
be around
you're moving off the goalpost. You're moving the goalpost.
that.
I
Okay.
just wanted you to know that you did take a government handout. Then,
Mm,
correct?
I don't see it as a handout. It
That's
wasn't
what
an FHA
regulates
loan,
the
like a
mortgage
first-time
rates,
homeowner
brother.
loan.
That doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's FHA, conventional, none of that matters. What matters is that the mortgage rates are set by the federal government.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to confuse the family, which means, okay, let's go deeper. Brother, did you go to college?
Yes.
Okay. Did you receive any type of financial aid at all?
No.
What college did you go to?
U of M.
What is that, like a
The
private
U of M.
college? What state college? What is it?
You said no. It's a state college. Yes.
Okay.
It's
So,
University of Michigan.
okay. Brother, you could have said that. Come on. Okay, I got you.
Well,
Okay,
people
okay.
usually know when you say the U of M, there ain't no other the U of M.
I'm not really into
The
like,
University of Memphis.
oh,
That ain't getting picked over the University of Michigan. You saw who? Did you watch NCAA basketball? You watch?
Okay, all
okay,
right.
brother. You're moving off the goalpost. What's it? Gretchen Whitmer, I believe. Is that your governor of Michigan?
I live in North Carolina right now, but I'm not
Not a
sure who the
problem.
governor of Michigan is right now.
Not a problem. Not a problem. So what I'm getting to is that these endowments that these colleges have, they're federally funded as well. Yes, they are personally funded by rich people, of course, but they're also federally funded. So if you attended one of these colleges in America, it doesn't matter which one you went to. It doesn't matter if it's private, not private, Ivy, doesn't matter. It's still funded by the government. So again, brother, it doesn't matter where you go. You cannot escape it. You are getting some type of help from the government. And I'm mad at Zizi because she took away my I can't say the other part, stimulus check. She took away that. That's another thing that's federalized or
Well, let me
subsidized
tell
by
you
the
about
government,
that's a
which
funny
I'm
story about my
sure that you
stimulus check.
received it. You
Now,
received it, brother.
no, I had to actually apply for it on my taxes because I didn't even know. I was like, oh, stimulus check. And then when me and my wife filed our taxes, she was like, oh, we can still get it. She got hers, but I didn't get mine at the same time. I didn't even
Taxes, brother. Okay, so you filed for taxes, brother?
Yeah, I have to.
Oh yeah. Let's go there. Do you receive income tax? Okay.
Okay. I know.
Come on,
you're
brother. Don't be
asking
there. That's a yes or no, brother.
To kind
Come
of
on.
correlate
Come on,
the
brother.
connection that we have to be tied to government. I understand that.
Yes,
But
brother.
I did say I have to live in reality, and I know that the government exists. I tried my best. I try my best to keep the government out of my business.
Afro, the defense rests.
All right.
Hey,
Appreciate
Afro,
that.
can I point, brother?
I don't have no
Afro,
bunkers. I don't have no bunkers on my.
may I point something out?
Go ahead.
I'm a very tactical thinker. That's just like my mind is a chessboard. And I've heard a couple people mention the ideology of anti-government ideology. Even the first guy without the shirtless dude mentioned some type of vague anarchist ideology. And I can't help but wonder, is this coming, and this is just a speculation, is this a tactic coming from the Democratic Party? Keep in mind, the Democratic Party has psychologists on staff, some of the best actually, because the Ivy League and top 10 universities, like I think U of M is, Democratic. Academics tend to be Democratic Party. And in conclusion, I'm just wondering, because they're very desperate. We're in an election season, and believe it or not, brother Afro, we are very effective. I teach political science, and I'm very proud of the impact that Foundational Black Americans has had. And it seems like to me they're trying different moves on this chessboard to try to get us to bite. Like, we tried the Democratic plantation tactics, but now let's try to throw them with some government anarchy. Now, and Rick, I'm not coming for you, maybe not you, but I'm hearing this a lot lately. That's all I want to point out.
I mean, I just don't. Our government has. We've been in a place where the government has.
Hold on, Rick.
Mhm.
Hold on, Rick. I'm gonna say, I mean, I don't believe in coincidences. It is a thing where we're starting to see more and more people come up, not just on this live, on other lives, being all like, man, we shouldn't want anything at all, period. We should just completely disband the government. This is, like this anarchist ideology is kind of spurring up really out of nowhere. There's no goal. There's no end goal. It's just, we don't want nothing to do with America at all. Down with the country.
That's
This
interesting.
ideology is coming up, and there's really no definitive source to it, no end goal to it. So it's kind of like weird, and
Well, can I respond after you? Because I find something interesting as well.
what do you find interesting?
So,
And then we're gonna have to
I was thinking about this, and I was like, what is this? What is this like thing going on amongst groups where certain parts of the groups are seen? It's like they're how do I say this? Like, I mean, basically, they're separating themselves from the majority. So you see this in the Latino and Hispanic community. You see the white
I'm sorry, he said
Hispanic
groups?
citizen of America separating himself as if he's the white
He
man.
did. He said
You
that.
see them voting against their own people. So, and then you also see this in other communities, like our community currently. There are these sect groups that are starting to pop up and dilute themselves from the majority.
Can
And I
I
don't know if
ask?
it's because
Okay.
Can I
the,
answer that?
You know what?
Okay, hold on, everybody. What? So okay, maybe. What group are you referring to, though?
so let me see. There's Blaga. I don't know where that came from. I didn't
Okay.
make that word up. So
It's
Now
it's
you said you had a point or a question to make. Did you have a question?
yeah, that's correlate. So you guys are saying that there's been this like maybe possibly that there's been this infiltration tactic or whatever you were calling it, that they've seen this influx of people
Okay,
saying,
so are
oh,
you a part of a group that doesn't believe in government or anything? Is that what you're a part of?
no, mm-mm.
Okay, it's a weird thing.
So
Yeah,
I just
I
like
already know
to say
that
to him
they're the
really,
same for
Well,
like
Candy
I got
has
a
been
quick
quiet.
statement.
Go ahead, Candy. Well, after Candy has been waiting patiently, I go on mute.
I would just like to say one thing. You know, it's real funny to me. I never hear these talking points when you're speaking about all these other groups. You know, when you talk about, oh, it's not a lot of money. You didn't say that to the illegals when y'all was passing out debit cards like Skittles. I don't hear this talking point about government handouts when you're talking about all the other groups that got reparations. You know, when the government is doing for everybody except us, it's not a problem. But when we ask for something, when we start demanding that you compensate us, who have historically had, I would have to argue, one of the worst experiences out of all of them that I've heard. You know, this is just my opinion, but I'm not trying to take away from anyone else's issue that they've experienced. But what I am saying is everyone has gotten some form of justice and some form of repair and reparation. And when it's time to talk to us about it, here come all these talking points and all these shields about what we don't need and why you want the government. This is not welfare. This is not a gift. You owe it. You harassed our ancestors for I don't know how long for free. The debt is due.
I
Okay, the
agree.
debt is due.
I haven't
All
denied
right.
their
Well,
claims. I
you
haven't
know,
denied their claims.
Rick, you came up. You asked a lot of questions. We answered your questions to the best of our ability. We have to let some other people up, and it was nice talking to you.
All right, same.
After,
All right, you
I
guys
just
take
want
care.
to remind you, thank you for coming, that I do have to leave by 7. That's another
Yeah, we're
45
gonna
minutes.
wrap things up shortly. I just want to cycle.
Right. So I kind of want
Thank you very
to
much for joining us. We gotta
move
do.
on.
BX, I got you locked in. BX, I ain't forgot about you.
Okay.
I want to say I noticed that he came up, and I just let him talk, and I let everybody else talk. I want y'all to notice how he came up and said, "Hey guys, I'm just new to the conversation. Everybody, I don't know really anything, and I'm super new. What do you guys want exactly?" Okay, and we went in that. That was his first question. His follow-up question, because it's a tactic, the follow-up question is, well, how are we going to get that if we lose voting power? Or don't you guys think that this movement is really disruptive for what we say we want? You say you want this thing, but you're doing this thing. They ask the question of what we want all of the time because that is their tactic and their method to get us to make a mistake. And his follow-up is going to be to seize on an opportunity if we misspeak or if we say an incorrect stat or anything else, because he knew way more than what he alluded to. He came in on some, I'm brand new to the conversation. Rick, you did. He came in on some, I'm new to the conversation. I'm new to this side of TikTok. I'm new to all of this. I don't know nothing really going on. So can you guys fill me in? Every time they come up with, can you guys fill me in? Okay, fine. But then as you let them keep talking, you find out, oh, well, you seem like you already knew that. So why were you asking that question? Because he said, well, you know, and I already know about, you know, y'all and being a lineage-based movement in FBA. I'm all like, that's interesting, because you wouldn't have gotten that off of this conversation. We didn't even say that word yet. Not at least when he was in the room. So that means that he already knew what FBA is, what FBA means, what the movement means, all of this. And this is a tactic that is used for people to start giving out information and all of that. And then for either one of two things, either them to gain information and reconnaissance, okay, and then take that back, or for you to have this audience, for you to have a big audience, for you to say, well, this is our demands, and then for them to slip you up by saying, well, you said you want this, but you're doing this, and then for you to look foolish and look like you have incomplete logic and methodology to get to your goal. Okay, he knew more at the end of the day. He knew way more than what he came up here and made it seem like he knew. Okay. Then he said well, I don't want reparations. I just don't want to be a part of the government. Plus, I don't think the government's going to give it to us anyway. But I do want to vote for like property and stuff. Really? So it's kind of, it's a weird thing. Like you want property rights, but you don't want reparation. That's, we should live by ourselves with property. Not I don't want the government to give me reparations. Well, what makes you think if they gave you property, it would go any better than that?
Yeah, and then calling us or saying groups, that was to throw a monkey wrench in. We almost gave him the reaction that he was looking for. Personally, I'm not concerned with other communities until they impose on ours. For the most part, foundational Black Americans want everybody to be treated fairly, right? That's why we don't really complain or didn't complain about everybody else using civil rights or coming here and stuff. But then we start realizing, hey, nobody cares about us, you know, especially if you're in a sanctuary city such as New York, right? So it's just aggravating to me. Some conversations, especially like this, are really draining. The Democrats had 60 years to get it together, and we're looked at as the insane ones for wanting change. We don't want blue no matter who. I'm not concerned about the Latinos until they start talking about they created this or they did that, or where, you know, them negative words that they say. We're on everybody's mind. We're like their wet dream and shit. Like, leave us alone. But yeah, he has some red flags. He did have some talking points that comes from those who only want land, to me, which is like, that's it. You know, really weird. He don't want reparations. He wanted restitution. I was like, yeah, bingo. No, and he's anti-government to a point. But yeah, that's it. I don't want to talk in circles, but sometimes these conversations are draining, Afro.
Yeah, sometimes, but we got to pay attention because he'll go in other rooms and he'll be able to slip people up. So we got to pay attention to some of the tactics, because there are a lot of interesting characters that pop up in our rooms all of a sudden. Some of these people are like the first guy, I don't want nothing from the government and no reparations. We need a revolution. You're seeing a lot of these almost exaggerated characteristic revolutionaries that are popping up with the the Black Panther. Remember the Black Panther guy, Paul Birdson? We need an armed revolution. The original Black Panthers, they said we gotta take up arms and get the president. Like, when are we doing that? What are you talking about? There's a lot of weird characters popping up, y'all. We got to be careful of that. We got to be careful of that. What am I? Oh, just dim like that. That's interesting. All right, EJ.
Brother, I had to spray my room before I came up here. God told me to update my app because that agent had, a wiretap. He had the wiretap stuck to his taco meat in his chest, man. He was recording you, Afro. So you got to watch these agents with their plebiscite babbling. You talking all this stuff about how you don't want nothing for the government, but you had to apply to get a stimulus check. So obviously you benefited from getting some money. So you have to you have to do something with that. You have to file your taxes to get an income tax check. Like, come on now. What type of employment do you know where you can't even file your taxes and you expect to get an income tax check? And this dude was giving me straight, hey, first, family, guess where he was from? The Carolinas.
Hold on. Not only did he want the stimulus check, and not only that, when he found out he missed out, he circled back to see if he could grab the stimulus check again. So it's not like he just got it like, oh, they just gave it to me. He was all like, I missed it. Where do I sign up to get an appeal? So I'm like, oh, okay. So you don't mind government that much.
My wife keeps on taxes. I basically keep on since you don't like the government, sir. But keep on babbling in the comment section. Yeah, man, you got to watch these agents when it comes to them trying to backtrack on us trying to get our reparations. We don't need characters like him amongst us because they don't bring nothing clearly to the table. And I don't know what the first person was thinking about. I don't know if he was 2006 Gucci Man or something, had his shirt off. I don't know if he was trying to impress the ladies on the panel. But this ain't this type of party. This is not OnlyFans. You might want to keep that somewhere else, brother. But voting rights decision. This is a good decision for the brothers and sisters amongst our lineage. I think no other group of people, if they're illegally entering the country, should have access to voting. I think that would cloud our government since it's already been oversaturated with immigrants getting in political positions. And hopefully this birthright citizenship decision goes very well, because if they was opening the floodgates into these other people's countries, if Black Americans were coming by the millions into their country, benefiting not the local people and giving us benefits and tangibles in these other people's foreign lands, I think the people would have some sort of law that would try to, stop our momentum if we were not giving them the benefits or even applying like employment to their people. Black Americans are tired of being the scapegoat for these political parties, let alone these illegal immigrants. I think it's time for everybody to hold their own NUTS, and that dude came up here just to plebiscite babble. I've been telling you this numerous times ever since I met you, Afro. You have the patience to deal with these cops. I just kept hearing and flickering red lights in my room, and definitely you see where he was from. He said he was born in the Carolinas. A lot of these tethers, all of a sudden they from the Carolinas for some strange reason.
Everybody in their mama from the Carolinas now. It's crazy. Everybody in their mama from the Carolinas.
My city under the bus, and I hate this. But I don't want to see Tazeville written in because I'm going to get on y'all. But I gotta admit, they have been listening to us in our rooms, and if they're in places like New York, that's our prime. We have many migration paths, right? However, our primary paths are the Carolinas. And I think what they're doing, and then plus the Gullah Geechee, right? What they're doing is trying to latch onto that because they overhear us. I noticed that I didn't really think that guy was of the lineage, but I wasn't going to make a big deal about it. I think they're trying to find like when you say, where's your family from? Oh, yeah. Well, they're from Charleston off of this little town right here. Like they're really doing a little bit more research just to seem like they are of the lineage, but everything else was a little bit off code. So if they're tethered and they're saying Carolinas, it's because they've heard New Yorkers in our primary migration path. Yeah, I don't want to see Tazeville, y'all, because I'm very honest about a lot of things about New York, and that's what they're doing, Afro. They overhear that. Mm-hmm.
They
Yeah.
said that too, sister, because the way that this dude came up here, he was talking about he don't want to get anything from the government. Well, this conversation is not for you. You shouldn't even be having no opinion about reparations or what we need to get or what we don't need to get. Now, any person who don't agree with reparations, lineage-based reparations, I don't even want to talk to these people. You shouldn't be worrying about getting anything beneficial to the government. Stop filing your taxes and see what happens. See if the government will pull up on you like Birdman. They're going to want their cash. So, hopefully with you not wanting anything from the government, stop filing your taxes. Stop putting gas in your car so you can't go to work since you don't want to do anything of benefit from the government. Stop filing your taxes. Stop doing what you need to do. If you have a home, stop paying your property taxes. Do the things that a nomad would do. Just go above ground. Just sell your house. Go live in the wilderness, in the woods. Stop using electricity. Stop using the basic necessities that some certain government agencies provide for you. If somebody break into your house, don't call the police. Just let them steal your stuff. So with that being said, stop letting these people talk. I had to come up here and just say what I had to say. But Judge Afro Elite, he is firm, but he is fair. But with that being said, I land my plane.
Appreciate that. Shout out to
I blame
EJ,
New
beat you
Yorkers,
up, brother.
These goddamn New Yorkers always talking about some Carolinas, bro. Like, yo, bro, you New Yorkers, let me tell you something about you New Yorkers, bro. Y'all all are just off cold and tetherish, bro. And BX, make sure my food ready by 7:30, though.
Hi.
It's funny. Let's Omega, you got it, bro.
Peace to the panel. Peace, everybody.
Peace to you, bro. How you doing?
I can't complain, man. Yeah, man. I noticed that a lot of these folks, they like to throw out that I don't want nothing from the government. It kind of they kind of use it as a backhanded compliment. I mean, not compliment, but a backhanded comment to kind of diminish us demanding something. You know what I'm saying? Demanding justice. And I think that's really what this whole voting rights situation is about, because let's just be honest, both parties have, for the existence of this country or the existence of their parties, denied us justice. And that's really what we come down on it at. And you hear people diminish our justice claim pretty much for the same type of reasons that a Democrat or a Republican would get out here and say the same thing. Oh, I don't want anything from the government. But at the same time, like old boy, when them stimmies came out, I know he was on that trail. You know what I'm saying? He can sit up here and pretend like he's not trying to get anything, all for the fact of coming up here and disrupting your panel. At the end of the day, if a check getting written, old boy gonna be the first one in line trying to get his. You know what I'm saying? Now, in terms of the voter rights, I hope it continues, because I believe I heard Professor Truth speak on it, and he's absolutely right. Like, it gives us, it gives us more leverage, but overall it makes both parties actually have to work to secure a vote from us. And when you keep getting these people like Professor Alon was getting that's coming up here, I don't believe in coincidences. I believe in a pattern. You know what I'm saying? And that shit's a pattern, man. But I'll land my plane. Be one.
Yeah. I want you all to notice, and you make a good point. Everybody's made a good point so far. I want you all to notice when people come up, I don't want nothing. I don't want nothing from this. This government's wicked. I hate them. I hate them all. Or I can't say that word, but I said it. Anyway, when they say that, I want you guys to notice that they don't mind getting anything from the government. They just say they don't want to make any demands of the government. Even the other guy before, when Alex said anything about, when he mentioned complaining, and black people, we gotta stop complaining. Oh, okay, well, what is the difference between complaining and addressing an issue? As black people complain too much and we just need to do for self. What they really are trying to do is they're trying to condition us to feel some type of shame or guilt for asking for things specifically. Okay. They want us to go back to not asking or demanding things specifically. So now they're coming out with this pride that they have for themselves, talking about, I wouldn't even take a check from the government. Oh no, I wouldn't even, they've just done too much. I wouldn't even take a check from them. Okay. And you're coming out with all this pride to make it seem as if we're out here panhandling and asking for some type of come up from the government. All right. And that is to try to manipulate the feeling that we have towards reparations and specific lineage-based demands. You understand? Because if you ask about any other general policy, they're in support of other general policies that would affect everybody. But when it comes to things specifically for our lineage, oh no, I wouldn't take a check. No, I would never take a check. Okay, all right, you wouldn't take a check. You wouldn't accept policies specifically for foundational Black Americans that he claimed he is. He claimed he is, but you don't mind policies that affect everybody. Okay.
You just said something about
Just
this, brother
Okay.
Afro. Us as foundational Black Americans, we're gonna have our head and shoulders on point when it comes to us getting money. Now you can't tell me that you didn't know nothing about these damn stimulus checks. You just said your wife had to file to get them, so obviously you had some information about getting the damn money. So you had to be aware that the government was giving us a stimulus check. So obviously you know when to be a part of that. Oh, I don't want to be a part of the government. I don't need nothing. But once that check come in the mail, that direct deposit hit your bank account, you're gonna be doing a Birdman hand roll just like everybody else. So a lot of these people, they'll use it with them aligning themselves with, I don't like the government because they ain't doing nothing, I ain't getting nothing out of it. But once that $2,000 came in, that stimulus check came in the first time, you was up here moonwalking like Michael Jackson in the movie theater. So
Well, if the stimulus is supposed to hit on Friday, they check in their bank account at 12:01 a.m. Friday morning.
they got a time card. You can
For real.
They checking their bank account at 12:01 a.m. in the morning. Staying up late. He got his phone connected to the charger, rolled over on the edge of his bed, just checking, refreshing, trying to see if it's pending. Now, come on now. Now
I don't need nothing from the government, but I sure do need that 1,600 now.
Okay. Now, Jay, we got to wrap it up. BX got to handle something. So, JG, you have a question, you said.
Yeah, so just based on the conversation I've heard so far, if it sounds as though reparations is very important to everyone in here, and I would agree. I think it's something that we're definitely owed.
Okay.
In light of
And
this,
when you say you are a foundational Black American, correct?
yeah, by definition, yeah, I am.
Okay. All right.
So, based on the Supreme Court decision that just happened, I'm trying to understand how that would be beneficial to the overall goal of trying to get reparations if Black voting power just got diluted.
Well, technically speaking, Black voting power has not really gotten diluted necessarily yet. I mean, what the Supreme Court decision has made is given Republicans in majority, like red states, the ability to redistrict or whatever. That does not necessarily dilute it if Black people strategize and work together. Plus, it's also given Democrat states a lot of power as well, too. Pretty much so every state, blue or red, is damn near going to be able to redistrict and redraw its map in their favor. So it's going to work on both ends. So that's what, and the thing is that the issue with reparations is for the federal government. So that is going to be Congress and the president. It doesn't have as much to do with the Supreme Court as you may think. Just like the reparations for the Japanese didn't involve the Supreme Court.
No, that's not what I'm saying. So, for example, the vast majority of Black people are concentrated in the South, right? So,
correct.
Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act, it applies to the whole country, but it was specifically drawn up with the South in mind, right? So correct. Now that decision has came down, and you now have to prove intent of racism when you're challenging racial gerrymandering. it takes the results test away. So now, for example, in Louisiana, they won't have any majority minority district, and what they're going to do is they're going to split that concentrated black community that had its own minority majority district. And what it's going to do is they are going to split that largely black community up and place segments of that community in majority white districts. So therefore, those black voters that were in a majority black district who could choose their representative, either Republican or Democrat, based on what they decided, that same community is now going to be placed in majority white districts. Therefore, they're going to be a permanent minority in that district. So if reparations is something that you want, and you now split this concentrated black community up and you put them into white majority districts, what's the likelihood that reparations will even be an issue if you're still a minority vote? There are currently no Republicans in Congress, in all of Congress, who even co-sponsor the studying of reparations. There are no Republicans who currently support reparations. So
just like no Democrats who currently support reparations. We agree on that, yeah. We agree on that.
Well, HR 40 is sponsored completely by Democrats.
Okay. Well, HR 40 is not reparations, and as we've seen, HR 40 has been HR 40 has been on a shelf collecting dust for generations under Democrat leadership. So the Democrats have shown that they don't support their own HR 40 bills. So let's not, when people bring up, there's no Republicans that support reparations. Clearly, there's no Democrats that support reparations. Clearly, we ain't seen none of that. There's clearly nobody who supports it. But to answer your question, for the sake of time, to answer your question, I'm not sure where the idea that there is not going to be any majority black districts in Louisiana, I'm not sure where that is coming from.
Because the literal case that caused this decision, the reason why the case even went to the Supreme Court is because the courts in Louisiana had ruled that they have to create a second majority minority district, which would have been a black district. The one majority minority district that they already had in Louisiana was as a result of Section 2 as well. So the only reason why there was a majority black district in Louisiana is because it was forced to be created. So they had forced them to create a second majority minority district, which was going to be black. And they sued and they stopped the formation of that district. Now that the case has come down, the one district that they had, that's going to be gone as well. So now we're going to go from having one majority black district to having none, and those communities will now be represented by Republicans in overwhelmingly white districts. So if you go from having,
I hear your concern.
So how does that help you get reparations?
And let me ask you, how does it help? It doesn't affect, because it doesn't hurt, because having the majority black districts that we've had and having the Democrats come from the majority black districts have not aided in our fight for reparations. I mean, the way you would say that this is helping or hurting, you would have to say that before we were having a positive with the majority black districts. In the majority black districts, they're not doing anything in Congress for the black community. So it really cancels each other out. They might as well be Republican if they're not going to do anything for the community. And this isn't to say that a Democrat can't win in those districts. Just because they might not be 100 a Republican or a Democrat can still, yes, you can. Districts flip all the time, sir. Districts, in the South? Stop it. Districts flip all of the time.
In the South?
In the South, they do. They were just, sir, stop, please. They were just talking about how Georgia was flipping purple with Stacey Abrams, and how Stacey Abrams flipped multiple districts. Okay, so when you get black people mobilized, you can flip certain districts. On top of the fact that there's a lot of people in these white rural communities who don't vote at all. All right. So it is possible. It's not like it's all doomed that any of these districts can have a representative coming from the black community. But I would challenge that by asking, what have the representatives that we have had from the majority black district done in advancing the cause of reparations? And if they haven't done anything, them losing their majority minority district isn't going to take anything away. It's not going to set us back. That you're implying that it's going to set us back and we're going to take steps back in the grand scheme of reparations. And I'm asking, they have not been moving us forward. So them being off the table doesn't set us back any.
No, I didn't necessarily say it sets us back. I say, how does this decision help? That's specifically what I said.
Well, as far as reparations, it was said. Okay, let me answer the question. Let me answer the question, sir. We have limited time. I'm gonna answer. We have limited time, so I'm gonna answer your question. It helps because now the Democratic politicians are not going to feel guaranteed to win these districts. There are certain districts that they have felt very comfortable. Therefore, they have been giving the absolute bare minimum.
The districts won't exist anymore, sir.
No. The districts still exist.
No, they aren't. Because they're going to redraw them.
Even if they reshape the districts still exist.
No, they don't.
They can't, sir, stop it. Yes, they can.
How can a district still exist if it's completely redrawn?
If you redraw, that will mean that there is another district. States have districts based off of population. Okay?
Okay.
That is how the American government set up districts. Okay? So if people do not mass move from another place, the districts are not going to totally transform if there's no mass migration, because the districts are based off of a population percentage.
But let me
So that means if there's slight shift in the districts, they can still potentially win those districts based off of the black population, because most black Americans tend to live in somewhat a same or similar region in population. So therefore, if black people are mobilized, they can still flip the district or get whatever politician they want. Hell, we can have a pro reparations independent win that district if we wanted to.
Okay, so listen to what I'm saying.
So what I'm saying is this. Why people are happy about this is because this guarantees, or this doesn't, guarantee that a Democrat is automatically going to win that district. So therefore, they're going to have to do more than the bare minimum to win this district. These districts were not being challenged before. Now they are being challenged. So they're going to have to put effort into getting black people to be mobilized and engaged with them again to win the black vote. This is why people are happy about that.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is this, sir. If black people are only now going to make up 10% of a district, even if all the black people, let me finish.
Okay, all right, I'm listening.
For example, in the state of Louisiana, 80% of white people vote Republican. They have for decades, okay?
Okay.
If you now place black people in those districts, and let's just say all of the black people in that district vote, and they say we want a candidate that supports reparations. If a district that is 80% white and they oppose reparations completely, who do you think wins that district?
Can I ask you a question?
If the district is 80% white,
if the district is 80% white, is 20% black. But if the people that comprise that district, they are 80% white and they all oppose reparations, who do you think is going to win that fight in that district? If you're only 20% of the district.
In that particular district, it would seem like the white people will win, wouldn't it?
Okay, and that's going to happen across the entire South.
So why are districts now going to be 80% white across the board? How does that make sense?
Because now that the Supreme Court has said that you cannot draw a majority black district, you no longer will have a district that is majority black.
The Supreme Court did not say that.
Yes, it did.
No, it did not.
Yes, it did.
No,
Yes,
it didn't. No, it did not. It did not say that. No, it didn't.
It
Okay.
literally did. It
No,
closed the
they
idea.
literally did not say that. Okay. Okay.
It closed the idea of creating a district
See,
based
you
on
have to
race,
hold
sir.
on. So you have to make things up. And for the sake of time, I do want to get. We have another. Anybody want to drop down? Because I do want to let Unwritten come up and say what she has to
That's
say.
literally what the case
But
was
no,
about.
the case. Hold on, sir. Because let's not spread misinformation.
I'm
here.
not spreading misinformation,
The
sir.
case,
That's
the
what the case
ruling,
was
sir,
about.
the ruling was that redistricting, okay, because with the amendment, okay, the Voting Rights Amendment saying that you can't redistrict if the intent is going to pretty much harm black people as far as diluting the districts, okay? Now, they said that you can redistrict even if it does dilute or harm some of the districts if it separates that, as long as you can't intend, as long as they would have to contest it and prove that if there was racial intent with it, which I necessarily don't agree with. However, I don't think that it's going to be as effective as the Republicans or other people are making it out to be, based off of how districts are calculated in the first place. Because if districts are calculated based off of the population, which is about 7,100 or 71,000 to 75,000, based off of the percentage of people living within that area, 71,000, that makes up pretty much a district, roughly, right? So if black people still live pretty much in that same area, even if they are able to chop it up a little bit and dilute it a little bit, a mobilized black bloc, a black voter bloc, is going to be able to overturn that quite easily.
No, it's not.
And quite effectively. Yes, okay. Yes, we can.
No.
It can work, sir.
Playing musical chairs with you.
And the thing is that you're saying, hold on, what you're pretty much saying, is that they're going to reshape the districts despite pretty much the rule of how districts are made. You haven't refuted that point. They're going to reshape the districts in a way where all of the districts, period, are going to be majority white. And that's not possible.
That is very possible. That's how the districts were shaped before Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act, sir. It was amended in 1982 because that's exactly what they were doing. That's why the Voting Rights Act was created. So what do you mean that's not possible? It was literally that way before the Voting Rights Act was passed. The Supreme Court case that just came down, Louisiana versus Kalis, it was specifically about the fact that the Louisiana courts ruled that a second majority minority district had to be created because when they had drew the previous map, they were trying to dilute the vote then. So the court said, actually, no, you can't do that. What you're going to do is you're going to draw another majority minority district. They sued and it went to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court shut it down. But the state courts in Louisiana had already approved the creation of the second majority minority district. They didn't have one until they were forced to create one to begin with. That black majority district that they did have, it wasn't formed because they wanted it to. It was formed because by law it had to be after the Voting Rights Act after the Voting Rights Act was amended in 1982. Because when it was passed in 65, the only clause there was that it had to prove intent. When Congress amended it in 1982, they said you also can do a results based, and if the results show racial dilution, then you can't do that. I really want people to study this because that's just not the truth that you're saying, sir.
Okay,
it is, sir.
It is not the truth.
Okay, if I may,
1982,
Afro,
there were
sir.
Okay, hold on,
sir. I attended a school of law and taught con law for years. First and foremost, I don't understand let's assume what you're saying is true. The way this works is the Supreme Court is a supreme law of the land. The buck stops there. There is no appeal, sir.
I know there's no appeal. I know there's no appeal.
Let me finish. I didn't interrupt you. Hold on. Like the old folks used to say, "Hush your mouth." I'm not a child, so don't stop interrupting me and respect what I'm saying, sir. And I'll have respect for you. You see how it works. You see how it works? The Supreme Court, there is no appeal on the Supreme Court. They made their decision. And even though you don't know what you're talking about, assuming what you said is true, why are you whining about it? They made their decision. You can't appeal it.
So I never said that they could be appealed. I'm simply saying, as a result of what the Supreme Court did, what is going to happen is those majority black communities that had a seat or several seats in these states where they got to choose their
now what? Okay. What you gonna do about it? So you're here to spread fear, or you fear mongering?
So you don't want me to respond?
That's not what I said. I said, what you gonna do about it? You're spreading fear, sir.
I'm not spreading fear. I'm just saying the reality of what's going to happen is those minorities in those states will not be able to choose a representative.
Okay, what you gonna do about it? What you gonna do about it?
If y'all are saying that reparations is important, I'm asking, how does this decision help move that ball forward? That's all.
Okay, now here's the thing: if we're saying that, and it's not as if those representatives were helping reparations, so nobody is saying that this decision is going to do that. But they weren't helping reparations before. You're making it seem as if now it is going to be.
You just said you were going to gain leverage.
That's enough. Because now you're making it seem as if it is impossible.
Did you not say leverage will be gained?
Here's what happened in Louisiana. I'm gonna say this, and then I'm gonna let Unwritten. She says she had a question. Let her ask her a question. What happened in Louisiana is that there was a big black district. Okay, majority minority district that pretty much stretched across from Shreveport, Louisiana, all the way to New Orleans. Okay, it pretty much stretched across the state. And then when they went to reshape the districts, they cut that big stretch. And they said, okay, well, if you're going to cut it, then you're going to have to make another majority minority district. And then they said, well, you can't make a district with a race in mind. You can't make another majority minority district, tongue twister, on purpose. Okay, you can't do that with the case in mind. They said, okay, well, no, that's what it's about. They went to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court ruled in that decision that you can't make districts with necessarily race in mind. So if they reshape a district and it hurts a majority minority district, okay, as long as you can't prove that they intended to do it racially to dilute the black vote, it's permissible. Now, what we're saying is that even if they do reshape all of these districts, the way you're making it seem is that they would have to have, like, literally in a whole state like Louisiana, they would literally have to have about 3 districts in order for all of these districts, because there's a huge black population in Louisiana. In order for all of these districts to be majority white, they would have to have they would have to literally break it up into like 3 or 4 pieces. And based off of how districts are made, period, they're not going to be able to do that because districts are made based off of population numbers, right?
But sir,
so they're not going to be able to cut it up where there's going to be a majority white, 80% white district.
They literally are.
Okay.
They literally are, and that's what I'm telling you. That's how it was before the Voting Rights Act.
That has not happened.
That is how it was before the Voting Rights Act was
passed. The population size was different.
These districts, you're saying it was that way before. These districts were not kept. Sir, stop it. Stop. Okay? I know what you're saying. They were that way before. Okay? Things are not the way they were in the 1960s. Okay? And even if they are, sir, stop talking when I'm talking. Stop.
Let the host talk.
Okay.
What is wrong? Don't come off your mute again.
Okay. Even if, let's say for the sake of the argument that is 100% true, and now black people are back in the how they were in the 1960s before the Voting Rights Act, black people were still getting elected before the 1960s Voting Rights Act. Actually, there were black people all up in the government. In Reconstruction, black people were massively supporting and engaging in the political process during Reconstruction and getting other black people in office during Reconstruction. So you do not need, and this is what I'm saying, you do not need a district to say this is a majority minority district in order for black people to have any type of political power. What you're trying to imply is that if it is not a majority minority district, black people have no say so. And historically speaking, that is not the case. What I am arguing is that if black people are mobilized, whether it is a majority minority district or not, black people are still going to be able to have wins in these districts.
Okay, can I respond respectfully? So
Before that, let's let Unwritten get her question out, because we do got to wrap it up soon. We do got to wrap it up soon.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask JG. So we understand, and we've already talked about this, that the decision basically states that you can no longer create districts that rely on race, right? However, there is criteria in which you can use to draw your districts. What are the criterias now that you can base your districts on, JG?
Ask the question again. I'm sorry.
Now that you can no longer draw districts based on race, correct?
It's partisan affiliation.
What is the criteria now that
partisan
you can
affiliation.
draw? JG, what is the criteria now that you can draw districts?
I just answered. It's partisan affiliation. It's political affiliation.
That's
Okay,
not true.
so
Every state has their own election laws, sir. What are you talking about? Where are you talking about?
Right.
Okay, but let's let her.
Okay.
So political, let's go with that. There's other factors, but let's go with that. Political affiliation. Do black people within Louisiana has a majority political affiliation, consistency, like continuity?
Do they? Yes.
Okay. Can they redraw the districts based off of that political continuity and it be constitutional?
Yes. According to the Supreme Court, yes.
Okay. So in tandem, there is a possibility, right, under the Constitution, that with political continuity, they can redraw those maps and it would still be majority minority. However, it would not be based off of race, correct?
Yes. To answer your question, that is a possibility. That is an actual possibility.
So why when we're discussing this, you all don't mention the fact that there are other metrics in which you can draw districts that has nothing to do with race that would still keep the same type of voting power?
So, so I'm responding now, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because I don't want to be rude. So the reason why people are saying, not even people, what I'm saying is this. The state of Louisiana is completely Republican controlled. What is the likelihood that a Republican controlled legislature is going to redraw a district that leans politically Democratic?
Well, that's the thing. If the criteria, but JG, to your point, if the criteria is political continuity, right? There's other factors, infrastructure, school districts, etc. So they would have to, they would have to prove why they would include certain people of other political affiliations within their district. Because you have to, if political continuity is the criteria, you're going to have to draw it based off of the people who are established within those political affiliations. And if you have a majority, we're not going to, I guess, let's say black, right? Or more so Democrat. You have a majority Democratic cohort here, right? How can I justify drawing the map in between this Democratic cohort if they're not having the same political affiliation? If that's the criteria, how are they able to prove it?
Yeah, so political continuity is not a requirement when a state legislature is drawing up.
You just said that it was.
No, I said
you just said that it was, and we was gonna go with that. You said that political. I asked you specifically, what is the criteria?
No,
you said political continuity, so we went with that, right? So in order to justify drawing within those lines, right, you're going to have to prove political continuity. Correct?
No, incorrect. So if you look at
so what's the new criteria? Sorry, let's switch to a new criteria.
Yeah, he said it was.
I'm not. No. I said political affiliation. So if you look at
a political affiliation. Let's go with that.
That's not the same thing as political continuity, man.
It's different. Okay, let's go. Let's go with political affiliation then. If you have to prove,
please, respectfully, can I explain what I'm trying to explain?
Go
So if
ahead.
you look at what the Supreme Court ruled, because again, they struck down the idea that you can draw a district based on race. What
Correct.
they said was you can draw a district for political advantage. So if
Mm-hmm.
Republicans or Democrats wanted to draw districts that advantage them politically, the Supreme Court said you can do so. So my point is, in a state like Louisiana that is overwhelmingly Republican, what is the likelihood that they are going to draw a district that is politically Democrat? It's not
Sir,
happening.
So
sir,
political
That
hold
will
on.
not
advantage was
happen.
Let
not
me
the
just
verbiage.
specify that
Sorry, go ahead.
That's that's
every single state, Democrat and Republican, has always drawn the districts as much as they can to their best interest.
I agree with
Look
you.
at
Right.
I
look at
agree
the
with you.
districts in California.
I'm
Look
not
at the
disagreeing
districts
with you,
in New
sir.
York.
I'm not
That's not a new
I'm
thing.
not
Like, you're
I'm
making
not
it seem like, do you think the Republicans are going to? No, well, no. If the Republicans had the choice, but
I'm
what
not
she's asking is that there are still requirements. They can't
Mm-hmm.
just draw the districts any type of way.
Correct.
There's still requirements of how the districts are to be drawn.
And
but
that's
And
what I'm
if
asking
the
about. The criteria of,
okay.
because what you all are
So to
doing, this is my
respond.
issue with this JG and everyone who thinks like you. When you speak about this decision, and the thing is, our country is getting away from race-based anything. If
No,
you
it's
are
not. But
noticing a
okay.
pattern, they are attacking any single thing that is based off of race. And anything that we've built or established that has race in it is going to be attacked and challenged. We know this. We've been talking about this for months, if not years. However, we're seeing it actually be implemented, and therefore, hence the strategy or the shift towards heritage lineage based things. Correct. That is a whole one of the main
exactly.
purposes around FBA is establishing yourself outside of a racial identity, because you can't get anything tied to race because it's unconstitutional.
Thank
We've been
you.
seeing this. So the fact that everyone is like, oh my God, hooping and hollering about, oh my God, they're attacking something about based off of race. We all knew this. This is not new. And it's also in Project 2025, we see this. So the reality is that there is now a different set of criteria that you have to understand and you have to adjust for. So my issue, right, with like I said, JG and people like you, or people like you, do not want to discuss what are the strategies of transitioning into being under the right criteria that is constitutional, right? And so if you want to say, unless we're talking about redistricting, you need to understand, well, what is the criteria around redistricting that is constitutional? What is it that you need to establish in order to have people within your district, right? And if you have continuity in a group, there's multiple criteria that you need to meet in order to say, you know what, okay, this makes sense to be a proper district, right? They don't want to break up certain infrastructure. You don't want to put a district in the middle of a plaza, right? You don't want to put a district that breaks up school districts, right? So there's certain criteria that is necessary, and like Professor Allen said, different states have their different requirements, so you need to be educated on that. But you can still keep or even have a greater impact when it comes to your vote, even under this new clause, if you all meet the criteria. So I'm just so confused why Dems are not speaking about the necessity of a new criteria for districts that are predominantly black.
Well,
So that's my main issue, but that's all I have to say.
Unwritten, if I could quickly interject right there. From my view, what's the objective? What you said was beautiful. Thank you for being so succinct and eloquent with that. But so then one must ask the question, what's the objective? And the answer is really simple. Fear-based motivation. The Democratic Party has always retorted to fear, because fear was a tactic that was used to control Black Americans. But we ain't scared. I'm looking at this as a good thing. Now that it's law on the books, it's good
you.